Yo, Dean,
Look,
what's up?
not much. How you doing?
Good. You got a beard now? Is this like a new Southern thing?
Yeah, pretty much.
I like it. I'm into it. So, welcome to the club. I am getting home. I drive home from Rhode Island to North Shore almost every weekend to go visit my parents. And then I'm getting in late today. I don't know. I just had a bunch of appointments, so it's late, but we're here. What I'm gonna do is you used to be on our calls back in the day, right? Dean, you're muted.
All right, there we go. Yep, I used to be cool.
No, you used to be on our calls back in the day, yes?
Yes,
Okay. So you kind of know what this format is?
I do.
All right. So all it is pretty much group therapy, your own therapy, talking about what's
Okay.
going on with you. You set whatever goal you want to set for yourself, and then essentially you're in a room full of people that hopefully you know, like, and trust and want to do good business with. And so you hold yourself to that standard. That's it. It's a group full of people that are good quality people.
I like that.
Look at this guy in his barn.
Where?
Matt Slowik. He's so shiny.
So shiny. What's up,
He,
Dean? How you doing,
you,
man?
What's up, Matt?
How you doing?
Good, man. Long time.
Long time.
guess where Dean is now?
Let me guess by the background.
I don't know. Let's see.
You're
I
doing
can.
bad at this.
Sorry, it's not a really not a huge background.
It looks
Looks
it
warm.
looks really warm.
Also, note that
Tell-
it's still daylight here.
Nice. So you're in the South.
I am in the South.
Nice.
Where you going, dog?
Dean, tell him what you're doing in the South.
Being country.
Being country.
Yep,
That's got a ton of definitions, I'm sure.
exactly.
What do you do, Dean? I don't think we've met before.
Let's see. What do I do? I guess I am an entrepreneur. We can go with that. That'd be the big. If I have a definition, that's what I would be. I'm an entrepreneur, and I actually am pretty good at marketing.
I
Dean,
think that's
tell her a little,
answer.
tell her a little bit more.
Okay. Let's see. Low key think I'm a genius, but whatever. Um, no. Let's see. I was originally living in Rhode Island, me with my wife and our twins, and we have or had a T-shirt business that was thriving fairly well, and then we jumped into the whole real estate game due to Suzanne.
Like because of her, directly because of her?
No, because she was the coolest
No,
person in Rhode Island.
they're full of shit. Full of shit. He joined sub too, but his background and my background, I used to be an Amazon seller at one point, and I found out they had a t-shirt business on Amazon. And so I kind of was like, oh my God, I know you know things. There's a lot of like mental hoops you have to jump through to be a seller on Amazon. And so I knew from the beginning, plus he's in Rhode Island as well, that I was like, let's be friends. So he lived like 5 minutes away from me. And then Dean on top of that, like he won't tell you, so I'll just tell you. Plus I like hearing myself talk. He is a genius. I swear to you, he's a genius. Yeah, but he's like one of the most approachable, like sweet Southern. He's got an accent. It's just easy to listen to him, easy to like communicate with him. Cause sometimes I feel like nerds are like, I don't know, they just don't speak human. They speak like whatever that binary 0 and 1 language is. Like, you know what I mean? Like they don't resonate with people, but he does a great job. So he used to be kind of like the integrator for their team. A lot of texting, right?
For sure. Yep. I was
Yeah,
able
so
to
he
scale
did.
texting really good.
So tell them who you are, what you are. It's not like braggadocious. Like Rachel, I'll tell you who Rachel is, or Rachel will tell you who she is. But if she doesn't tell you, you're not going to understand like the gravity, the magnitude of the person that's in front of you. So tell her who you are,
Okay.
Dean. Go ahead.
Well, here we are. Essentially, I'm pretty good at marketing. I'm a nerd when it comes to AI, so I can build bots left and right to do cold outreach and follow up and all that kind of cool stuff. That kind of comes second nature to me. As far as like doing websites, inbound and outbound leads, that's the thing that kind of gets me going every day. I'm currently working with my brother to, he's got his real estate license, so I'm kind of drumming up leads for him, and it's actually pretty easy on my end. So I love doing that kind of stuff. And then on a personal note, probably 3 years ago, I had a stroke, and that put me out of the game for about 3 months, but I've been kind of bounced back fully on that. So that's a win.
Good.
Awesome.
Better, Dean, better.
Being better.
Roper.
Oh, you got
Matt, tell them who you are.
Yeah, so I'm Matt. I am safety manager by day and then landlord by night. Does that encompass all of it pretty well?
No, terrible. Tell them more. Tell them more about your landlord, and tell them why I like you.
Because we have our dogs are brothers. Does that count?
Yes, yes.
Is it?
But why else? Why do I like you?
I don't know. It's a long list. It's a very long list.
Yes. Okay, true. Fair. Yes, long list. But when you used to call me back in the day and then go on your tirades for like 1 to 2 hours, what were you talking to me about?
Well, the stuff that you can do versus the stuff you should sub out versus, that type of stuff. And I know time is money, but you can get your hands dirty. I know you can. Isn't there a light? Isn't there a light above us somewhere that you can say you hung? Where is it?
Yes.
Where is it? You hung that light.
And it's crooked, and I think about this light daily. I love
Beautiful
this light.
Beautiful.
But it's crooked. I sweat my nuts off trying to put it up. I rented like a ladder for $200 from like Home Depot to put it up. But I do love that light. You're right.
Yeah.
And it's funny because now I'm kind of putting it together. So he used to call me and yell at me, telling me I could do my own PEX plumbing on my flips. And this was like in the beginning when I started, when I just learned how to do send an email.
phone call.
And he would yell at me to do this. And I'm like, bro, I don't know who you think I am. I can't.
You got to be all the way out here for a phone call.
Dean, you got to mute, honey.
Sorry,
I'm
nephew.
on my phone. I got you. So anyway, he used to yell at me, telling me I could do all these things. And I'd be like, listen, like 10 minutes into the call, I'm like, you're on crack. Don't bother telling me this. It's a waste of time. I'm a hopeless cause. And then like by minute 40, I'd be like, okay.
Uh-oh, I think she froze.
All right, not just me.
No, not just you.
Good.
It
Sorry,
froze,
that's my Wi-Fi kicking on.
it froze you on the funniest face. It's okay.
If you look, so I record these calls and I throw them up on YouTube. YouTube, whatever the algorithm is, you should see the thumbnails YouTube likes to give me if you think that's a good face. But anyway, so he used to scream at me. I used to think he was crazy. And then 6 months later, after being disappointed by 3 plumbers and like being forced to go do stuff for myself, I'd finally be pushed to the brink of doing it. And I'd call him and I'd be like, God damn it, you were right. But it also speaks to him because one of the biggest fights I have with him is that he has 18 or 19 doors right now.
17.
What happened?
Or maybe
it's okay.
maybe it's 18. I forget. 17 or 18. 18.
But he's out of Springfield. He self-manages everything. And so one of the biggest fights we used to have, and this is back in the day, was like buying back your time because he has a full-time job as a safety manager. So he does his 9 to 5 thing. He loves it. And then on top of it, he and his wife run a company called Revival Home Buyers. And their primary form of lead generation is a very sexy, very expensive PPC thing. But they're very sweet. They're very cute. He's out of Springfield. So a lot of the doors that he has is in Springfield. And we made a deal at one time where we said, if you can make it to 20 doors, then let's not be so cheap and let's maybe hire a management company and you can buy back your time. But that's not the case because he's been holding steady at 17 for like the last 3 years
I just
that I've known him.
don't want to have to farm out, so I'm just not buying anything else. Just to spite you.
You're so stubborn. I believe that. I believe that.
I don't know. I can tell you, like, we used to do work for property management companies and they bill so ridiculously to landlords and
Yeah.
to like clients, like, condos, all of that. Like, if it costs $100, they're charging you $350.
Yeah.
Like,
So
just
I don't do it myself. Like I've got whatever my 5 guys that I would need, and I just call them and they're there within a day. Like we just had a thermostat blow up on a tenant, and within 24 hours it was fixed. You know what I mean? So I'm not in the mud. I'm not getting into the muck. It's just easier to not see that whatever 15-20% disappear plus that extra 200 on top of it. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
it's a lot. They'll charge you way more. Like when we used to bill them, they would pay us, no questions asked, no receipts, no nothing, whatever we sent, they would pay and bill, 3, 4, 5 times that amount to the client.
I think if my volume were higher and I didn't care, that'd be one thing, but still a little cheap. So
You're on mute, Suzanne.
Guess what dirty word I said while on mute. Matt, tell them what you've been up to lately. Because it's been like a year. It's been like a year since I've seen you. Yeah.
it has been, yeah. Yeah, so just working on SEO stuff, right? So just making the site better. There've been a couple like big Google changes, so it's just adapting to that change and seeing all the rankings hopefully maintain or get better, which they have. Been getting calls, been getting hits, but it's all, the appointments I go on, I don't see the meat. There's no meat in the bone. Even for anything sub 2 wise, right? Not that I don't have interest in that. I really don't. I just want to hold, like outright. So it's, trying to find the stretch in those numbers is a little bit harder these days, at least in this area. But yeah, we got a call maybe a month ago. So we went under contract 2 weeks ago. So that's what I was telling you about, Sharkey. With Kelly's story of big fallopian tubes.
Oh, yeah. You never told me that story.
I did, and I forgot to tell you.
No,
Yeah.
because you were waiting for Kelly. Where's Kelly at?
Kelly is in the house with the dogs.
Is this your ginormous barn man cave?
It is.
Let me see the setup. Do you have something up there? Or are you just sitting in the corner, not trying to be at home right now?
That's exactly it. But it's looking good.
What do you have up there? Is that like an office or?
No, it's just cornhole, baby.
Oh my God.
Kayak, golf, let's ping pong it, whatever, darts, it's all good. Yeah.
So Matt, did you ever host a meetup at your barn?
It was like the pre-Thanksgiving thing a couple of years back.
So you did?
Yeah. But I think
Okay, how was it?
or I don't know if I had stained the floor yet.
No, I think you were worried about doing that acid thing you were talking about.
Yeah. It was rough, but it worked.
How was the meetup?
It was good. It was for like the purpose of like coordinating the donations. So it was
Oh, yes. I remember this.
quick, and it was like fall, so there's no heat in here, so it was just a little bit chilly. At heaters.
Yeah.
Place is huge. There's no maintaining heat here.
Okay. Do you want stop it? Do you want to tell your big fallopian tube story?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's just So it was SEO call, so not even like an entry, right? Which is like SEO is big. If you have a number tied to it, you have to pick it up all the time, right? You don't want to miss a call because they're on to the next person.
Right.
So we go and we meet the 2 brothers who were doing the sale for the uncle who is a VA in a home up here, a very popular VA facility. And we meet them and it's all great. It's all perfect. And I obviously I bring Kelly along because she's got about 100 times more personality than I do. So I think that's always a partial sell. Having along. So, running the numbers, and I'm running them a little bit thinner than I probably normally would, but give them the whole spiel, give them the whole layout, all the numbers, all the breakdowns. And I'm like at 140-ish. That's fair, probably end at like 320, 300, 270 worst case. And she's like, just offer 110 and just see if it sticks. And they took the 110. So this is like the third time that she's done that where I offered way lower just based on her her little gut reaction from the conversation she was having with what she thinks they'd be acceptable with, And he's doing the guy's
Yeah.
doing all the money to the VA anyway, so it's not like he's keeping a penny of it for himself. It's all going to the home. So
Yeah. Is that the 5-year clawback?
no, so I'm not sure what he did for a living, but the VA doesn't work the same way.
Okay.
And I think he's got enough money, like he's 95. So the VA doesn't charge like Medicaid does, right? Like they're not whatever, 13, 14, 15 grand a month. Like he's being paid by or supported by the government for serving in Vietnam, right? So it doesn't exist like that, like the rest of us, right?
Yeah.
But who hasn't served. So he didn't have to, that's not a worry for him. And he's 95 and not doing like all that well. He's doing fine. But I mean, to say he's going to get another 15 years where he'll need to spend the money, I don't think that's a reality, which they were vocal about. But
Rachael, Matt and Kelly are also husband and wife team that do this kind of stuff. They're like the Gen Y, Z. I don't know what the number is, or the letter is anymore, but Gen Y version of you, Matt. Matt is 40. He's over the hill.
You do not look 40.
Thank you. I powder before this call.
Rachael, do you want to introduce yourself for those that don't know you?
Yes, I can. Hopefully I'll do it right because apparently the last two weren't doing it right. I am Rachael. I work with my husband, Doug. We own a construction company called DHI Construction Design. We also flip and do development under a company called Got House, and we do a few projects per year. We're also landlords. We have 11 doors now in between Everett and Malden. And then we also have like a couple other companies or businesses here and in Brazil.
Nice.
Is that good enough? Good introduction.
That was badass.
That was very good. She killed both of you, Dean and Matt. Like, yeah, of course, women. I love it.
I want to redo.
I love it. I love it. Rachael, I was going to have you say one other thing. Oh, how do you get your leads for your houses? So your business where you do bathroom and kitchen renovation is one thing. But when you are purchasing or you're doing your like small residential flips or even your buy and holds, how are you buying? What's your lead source?
So you guys are gonna kill me. We like literally knock on doors. Like we are not technological at all. We're like terrible with it. And I would love to like learn more about like how you guys actually like internet find leads and do all that because I guess it's like we don't have enough time to like really do the research and explore like what it means to do that. And then it's like it doesn't always work out for us. I guess we're not technologically young enough for it. And so like we literally knock on doors and we meet people. Sometimes it ends up being like we'll get it through like another wholesaler for a flip or something, like we'll buy it through a wholesaler. The best deals that we've gotten have been, meeting people and knocking on doors and then just follow up 1 year later, 2 years later, like, hey, how's it going? Do you want to sell now? And then that's just been the best way we've found.
No, that's baller, door knocking. Yeah. I'm surprised not technologically advanced for your age. I don't understand how that works.
Well, I mean, I'm very tech savvy, but like not with like the leads gen type of thing. Like, I guess like we never really got into that of like how you find leads online and like, okay, do you do SEO and a website and this and like I like that whole aspect of it we never really got into. And then again, like with all of the other stuff we have going on, it's hard to like really narrow it. Like this week, Doug gave me like a Friday deadline. He's like, look, by Friday, we have to be doing those email blasts. Like we have so many of our clients, so many people we know that have private money that every time we talk to one of them, it's like, wow, our client today in Somerville, I'd love to invest and, going into this whole thing and how she's actually a landlord and this, like, we just have so many of those leads. And he's like, we got to start doing like email newsletters and reaching out to people. And so like there's just been so many other things on the priority list that like the lead gen aspect of like wholesaling and development and flip, and that just never learned it.
Yeah. So on this call, you have Dean Jayroe, who is very good at text message marketing. You have Matt Slowik, who does SEO optimization and ranking. What a nerd. Like this man is like behind his little Google Analytics, like dialing things in. That's his jam. You have Mark Gullifer, who does a lot of cold calling stuff and list stacking, super savvy. And then you also have Ken Fothergill too, who I consider Ken, I don't know about you, but you were the integrator for your brother. The brother is the one that's on the phone talking to clients and doing sales and face-to-face stuff. And then Ken had their whole back end organized, in my opinion, from if I remember it correctly, Ken. Ken, do you want to further elaborate what you do or what you did and what you're doing now?
Yeah, so basically I know that Lily's on the phone with my brother right across from me right here. But basically, yeah, in the beginning stages of our company, I was the integrator. You know, I would handle like batch leads, all that stuff. But now Sharkey, I've moved on to like more of a project management role. So managing all of our flips and stuff like that. Like now all of our outreach, we don't do so much. We do a little bit of texting and mailers, but it's really going through Nick DeSimone. So a lot of our stuff is like physically door knocking, and I'm mainly doing project management. So I've kind of like,
Is he list stacking and then door knocking with your brother, or is it just Nick, or there's one other
I
dude?
don't know exactly what Nick is doing, and Johnny, just step away. Yeah.
The software that we use.
You could probably get a better answer from Johnny on what Nick is doing, but basically Nick is, he's doing texting, calling on strictly foreclosure leads, and then narrowing that down to door knocks. So it's really
the
targeted.
goal, yeah, and the goal for you guys is to target pre-foreclosure and then do a sub two into a subtail, I think is what it's called. You're not holding your
Well,
stuff. You're trying to flip it and not have to bring all the money to the table. Is my
sometimes
understanding.
we do. Sometimes we do a cash deal. We try not to because we have to raise so much money.
Yeah.
And we try to subject to it. And like some of them are subtail where it's like we sub to it and it's like maybe like 10 or 20 grand to freshen it up. But some of them are strictly sub two, and then we do like a full project on it and then flip it. So
How do you protect yourself so that the seller at the end of the day, when they see you making however much money you're making, they don't change their tune and try to do something weird at the end?
well, I mean, again, Johnny can speak more to this, but basically these people are in foreclosure and they're gonna lose their house on next Thursday. So it's definitely in the contract of it's solidified. And you know, what we usually do is like, you know, we'll do an equity split with them. So they're basically looking at either I'm gonna lose my house and be homeless in a week, or we do what we do where we come in either subject to it or buy cash. Give them time to live in there, help them find a place. So like here's the thing is like the main reason why we don't get kickback on it is because number one, they get to live in the place for 45 to 60 days max, maybe. They're
Yeah.
not losing everything, they're not losing their equity. We renovate it once they're out. We help them find a place, which we front all the money for. It comes out of the equity
Mhm.
split, but again, they're not coming out of pocket, even on all the moving costs. And then we do an equity split at the back end. So realistically, we haven't got a lot of kickback where they can do something funky. Is that going to be coming at some point when we do enough of these? Of course. But again, it's, you know, we have a contract with them, which, and again, it's not like they have the bankroll to get legal.
That's
true.
It's not like
That's true.
they can't pay their mortgage, so they're not looking to really hire an attorney, which, you know, that's not, we don't want to be known as that, but, you know, again, it's going to be rare.
Yeah. I
Hey,
had an
John.
unfortunate experience and the person, oh, sorry. I had an unfortunate experience and the person who did it a little bit differently was Jonathan Santiago. So I feel like he did some sort of like seller finance with the 1-year balloon, and then he treats it like a subtail. Somehow it was different because the issue that I had with the sub two deal that I did is because she still was on the deed and the deed never transferred. Is that right? No, the deed does transfer. Oh, I did a novation. Sorry. I did a novation. It was a shit
Okay.
show. Anyway, but I like the way that Santiago did it in the sense that the deed transfers and you control the deed, because I don't think I'll ever do another transaction where I don't control the deed. Yeah.
We
Plus
always
you
do.
got Lily's TC. Yeah. So
Lily's a boss.
going forward, are you continuing to do more equity splits? Is that like a good business for you?
Well, it's situational. We're trying to trying to go more of the route of like, same thing with like the amount that they stay there. You know, before we were like, hey, we'll give you 90 days, 60 to 90 days in the property. Bad idea. Bad idea, especially with these people. They're natural procrastinators. So trying to find them a place where like we help them on all that stuff. And then we realized like, wow, we really need to do everything for them because they are procrastinators. It's like, all right, so it's been 30 days. How many places did you apply to? One place. Yeah, these people have bad credit, no money. So it's like you need to apply to like 30. So we're going to be hiring a VA for that. But as far as the equity split, what we're going to do is more of like, how much do you need? Not so much, we'll take 60, you get 40, which we were doing that because it worked. And that's the way we learned how to do it. But now it's not like we're trying to get greedy, you know. We're more looking like, all right, so how much time do you need? Okay, I need 30 days. Okay, perfect. It's not 90. You know, how much do you need to get out of here? Let's say there's $100,000 of meat on the bone, where instead of a 60-40, they may need just 20. You know what I mean? So we kind of throw the ball in their court, and if they push back, then, you know, we'll adjust from there.
I like
Yeah.
it. Rachel, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask him about equity splits and like what is fair for, because you know, it is at the end of the day, it's all of your time, effort, knowledge, skill, and saving someone out of a bad situation. So, you know, even 40%, I don't know, is it bad for me to say that sounds generous giving it to them? Because
No, that's what everyone says. That's not bad. No,
yeah, it's
everyone's
especially
like,
like if you have $100,000 of profit, like technically that should go all to, in my books, that should go all to you because that's not, you know,
okay, but here's the thing. Will they
that's
sign on the
deserved.
dotted line if you take all the equity?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
they might not move forward, just lose it
Right.
foreclosure. I mean, at the end of the day, if there's equity in a property and it gets foreclosed on, the sellers still get that equity. It's not like it's a wash and they get walk with zero. Like if it sells at auction for 500 and they owe 300, they'll get that money.
But again, if it sells, if they owe 300 and it sells for 4, okay, where we could sell it for 6 or 650.
Right.
And here's the thing, I think one of the major players in this is time, because their auction, I mean, there's sometimes the auction is the next day. What are they going to?
So what I'm saying is that's why the equity split is good to consider. But if you're taking all their equity, they're like, I can just go down with the ship and I can walk with what it's worth now, or I can work with these guys, and that's why they haven't been giving you a hard time, right? That's why I think it's a really good like benefit and balance.
Well, here's the thing too, is like, you know, this is the other piece of us helping them find a place, fronting them the money for their last month's rent. You know, like stuff like that, where it's like they don't have that.
Huge.
You know what I mean? It's
you guys
like
are doing is a huge benefit for them.
it's
like not
dude,
even just the split, like everything
it's
else.
massive. We haven't had so
great.
far, and fingers crossed, we have not had a lot of people push back or say this was a terrible experience. I mean, if anything, they were like very grateful, which I mean, there's commission and then there's like emotional commission. That's a lot of emotional commission where like I can sleep at night knowing that I'm making my money, but also they're walking away with a new start on life with some money in their bank account. And we've gotten deals from that too, because of the way we treat it. And sometimes like there are options that we offer where we don't really get paid. Let's say we help somebody with a loan mod or something like that. We don't really get paid for that. But again, we helped somebody with loan mod, and that person was like, listen, my neighbor is in the same situation. We got a deal out of it. So it's it's making money, but at the same time, it's doing a really good thing where it's not like, hey, let me give you the lowest possible offer for your house cash, and you have to be out as soon as possible.
That's
For
huge.
this, it's more of like, hey, how much time do you need? We help them move. A lot of these people, they can't get out of their own way. So for us to step in, pay for the moving costs, help with the move, I mean, we physically moved people. A lot of these people don't have friends and family. You know what I mean? It's kind of a messy situation. So it works out. And again, now that we've done a few of these deals, we're starting to kind of like whittle it down to like, all right, so how can we tip this scale and make it where they're still comfortable, where we're not sacrificing a bunch of the equity. So what you were saying, Rachel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, believe me, there's not one person who was like 60-40. That makes sense. Yeah, cool. Not one. And which, I mean, we've had ones where it's 60-40 and we made a 6-figure flip on our part. So when there's enough meat in the bone, it depends on the situation. I mean, like now we're going more towards how much do you need route? How much money do you need? How much time do you need? Where
I was gonna say the 60-40 split, like I remember, so I did the deal with Z, right? And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's supposed to be a 50-50% partner split. But at the end of the day, when you do all the accounting, and like Rachel knows, because she manages like 10 bajillion businesses at once and people spending all this different kind of money, doing the accounting, staying on top of it, assigning which expense goes where, and then actually coming up with a number at the end before closing, what a nightmare. I would never want to do that. And then on top of it, like some of the costs that you don't account for, maybe you didn't pay the electric bill and forgot about that, and that comes on the back end, or you forgot another like transfer tax, whatever. So I like the idea of you meeting your customer's need, period. Because the
Yeah.
other thing that I could see is I could easily drive up costs on my project and say like, oh, well, I was a project manager. I'm going to pay myself a $5,000 salary every single month because I freaking earned it, right? But if we don't agree to that expense, then very quickly I can eliminate the profit on it. And so the 60-40 split looks like it's
the
not
seller.
reflective maybe of everything. Yeah.
With the seller. Yeah, you could do that. But
So again, that's why I like if this is what the seller needs, you're going to meet their needs, which I think is really important, because I think sometimes, I know when I used to get involved in the past, I used to make up problems and solve it for them. And at the end of the day, if they need 20,000, they're going to be the happiest if I give them what they said they needed,
right.
not
No, you
me
make
trying to give them another solution.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So here's the thing is like, if we go to them and say, what do you need? I would say 4 out of 5 times, it's going to be way less than what we initially would offer. They're not going to say, hey, I want 40% of the equity. They may need 20, 25 grand where there's 150, 200 grand of meat on the bone. Who knows? But again, we're not gonna be like, well, can we give you 15? We'll be like, okay, let me check. Obviously you don't say yes right away. I mean, that's like sales 101, but you just go, okay, that's what you need. This is how much time you need. Okay, let me just check with my partner, blah, blah, blah. Where to us, it's like better than a 60-40 split. It may end up being like 80-20, and instead of 90 days, 60, 90 days, they may need 30. So it's all perception really. So if they give us the ask of money and time, and it's usually going to be below what we were initially offering when we first started doing this.
I went to an off market, kind of like a class or a meetup or something. I forget who ran. I think it was actually someone really into sub two. And his line was, if you could wave a magic wand today, how much money would you ask for that would magically change your life? Like how much would make a difference for you? And I thought that was like a really good question to ask.
I think that's good, but I feel like it would be much higher. Where it's
Like
like
a magic wand.
yeah, I want $1 million. I mean, like obviously they're going to give you a price amount within reason, but no, I think that's good. We usually just go, hey, like, all right, so we want to make sure this is good for you and good for us. What do you need to to continue your life in a good way, or, you know, whichever way you want to phrase it. But essentially that's saying the same thing that you're saying right there, you know, and again, we want it where both of us win. We don't want them like walking away with like, sometimes we don't even feel comfortable with like, all right, you need 15 grand and we're going to make 120, you know, like we want to make sure it's like, all right, is that enough for you to be up and on your feet for the next foreseeable future? You know, it's, again, we want to sleep at night too. You know, we're making enough money. You know, we want to be able to send them off on their way into the sunset, at least until they, you know, fuck up again. Because that's how
How many projects do you have at a time? Do you, or like flips or?
Yeah. Well, Johnny, how many we have currently going right now?
7 active, 3 in escrow.
7 active, 3 in escrow. I would say 3 of them are big projects. 4 of them are kind of fluff and buff to cosmetic, subtail kind of things. So we got a lot going on. I mean, we're almost doing a contract a week and a half.
That's sweet.
But the thing
Rachel,
is,
they're brand new to flipping too. I think this is like house number 2 or 3 for them. And they came in guns blazing. So they went from being wholesalers and then something switched for them where they bought their first deal, ran it through the finish line, and now they're like, we're buying all our deals. And so that's why Ken went from being integrator to being the project manager, because they have that kind of volume now. Ken, what do you think your bandwidth is? Like, how many houses can you comfortably take on?
right now, well, we got 7 going on right now, but again, I would say it's more of like, which ones are the heavy ones? I have 2 contractors right now. I just sat down with a potential third. So we're potentially going to be running 3 crews. I would say one or two of those contractors are going to be the heavy jobs. And then we have like fluff buffs. Also one of the heavy contractors does have enough guys where he's like, hey, I can do fluff and buffs too. I am to the point now where I'm very, very busy. A lot of it is being organized as hell. But you know, I'd say in the near future, I'm going to be hiring a project manager for this very soon, very, very soon. But the thing is, I want to be able to be an ace on my programs and know the ins and outs. So I still want to be in it right now before I hand it off to somebody else, because I don't want to be that person who, you know, doesn't have the experience and the know-how to teach somebody yet. So, you know what I mean? So like, I want to make sure it's in the near future, but I'd say bandwidth right now, as far as like heavy projects, is 3. But again, we have some that are like 20 grand, you know, clean it out, new paint, flooring, some hardware, maybe some appliances. So yeah, it happened fast. It happened really, really fast. I mean, we started doing this foreclosure thing, what, 8 months ago?
It was like 7 months,
7 or 8 months ago. And we're rocking and rolling. But I think the thing that sets us apart was we're willing to do the things that people aren't willing to do, like door knock. Door knocking is, it's the way we get deals, plain and simple. If we didn't do door knocking, we would have, I'd say, a quarter of the deals, maybe.
Well,
You two are very similar.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, while I'm definitely not any type of expert and would not put myself on any type of pedestal at all, I've broken my brain cells many a time on a project trying to organize all receipts and numbers and construction management and all of that, whether for our flips or for clients. So if there's anything that I can help and you need someone to call, I also have endless lists of subs and people that I can send your way.
Ken, nice to meet you.
Any type of project. If I don't know someone, I will find you someone.
That's excellent. That's good, because I think I just fired my landscaper today. So Rachel, we'll be talking. I always love to talk to other flippers and stuff like that, and share good trade secrets and best practices, and obviously contractors too. You know, Suzanne's helped me out with that as well in the past when I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. You got a guy? She's like, yeah, I got a guy. So yeah,
Ken, what do you think your biggest thing that you're trying to solve right now? What's the biggest problem that you're having?
I mean, there's a bunch. I would say one of the biggest ones is keeping organized, because it's a lot. I mean, I think that's one of the major things that it's almost like you're never going to really figure out. The question is like, how well can you handle it? Not, I've got it down pat, but I could be wrong. Another thing is probably, especially dealing with more than one crew, keeping them busy and keeping certain schedules where it's like, all right, they're wrapping up this one, I can move them on to what, where it's like they're not taking on other jobs where I don't have them. So far, I haven't really run into that completely yet, but it's a big fear of mine. Yeah, I'd say organization, because right now I'm working a lot of hours just trying to keep organized.
How do you
hence,
organize right now? What do you use?
I use Flipper Force currently.
I've never heard of that. I'll look it up.
Yeah, look it up. It's actually pretty decent. We
Ken, what does it do for you for those that have never used it? Because you might have a like program, just not underneath that name.
always open to different programs. So Flipper Force, it's really good because like you can have all of your projects. It has like task templates. Are you guys familiar with like Microsoft Project? It has a version of that inside of it. So you can do your scheduling in there, which will link with your calendar, which is nice. You have a whole accounting section, a project management section, a deal analysis section. It's actually, I would say, I mean, if you YouTube it, they can give you like one-on-ones on it and you can check it out. It's actually, I got this program from Gordon Thornton.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really good for what I need right now. So far, I mean, obviously there's some things where I'm like, ooh, I could really use that, but that's every program I feel. But so far it's working well for me. What are you guys using?
I think I'm probably different than everyone else because like I run it for construction too. So like what I use for my clients, I'll use like a different like template for ourselves. So like we use Builder Trend, which is primarily for like project management and like it does budgets, it does daily logs, it does scheduling, it does like a million takeoffs, has like a million different features, but it's like it's more like for the construction aspect when you have actual clients. It's really not worth it like if you're a flipper or anything else. I
Okay.
don't know if you guys, the rest of you do flips and use management software.
Say it again, sorry.
I don't know if the rest of you guys also do flips and use some other, like maybe some other folks do different types of.
Anybody?
I'm not there yet.
No, volume is so low. Excel is enough for me. Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, that's what I started on. And then I'm like, somebody's had to have invented something that does all the things I'm doing in Excel. Obviously, yes. So that's when I put something out there, and Gordon Thornton and a few others recommended Flipper Force. So I mean, Gordon Thornton was he was kind of me and Johnny's mentor when we first started. We were wholesalers and we used to wholesale a lot of deals to him. So we did a lot of work with him. So I trust his judgment, his word. But yeah, Flipper Force it's done well for us. I mean, again, there's some things that I think they could change, but so far it's working really well for me. So far. I mean, the good thing is they have a lot of like templates that you can use for like checklists where it's like, all right, like for instance, give me 1 second. So like there's task managers where you can do like, all right, purchase closing, seller relocation, which we just made our own, rehab planning, project startup, demolition phase, rough in phase, rehab project closeout. And it has just preloaded stuff, which some of them may not apply to me, which I can kind of narrow, I can like delete certain tasks that I don't really use. But what I'm trying to do, and me and my brother are trying to do now, is trying to just go by the preloaded task lists that are already, like obviously this program is used by a bunch of flippers that use those. So we're trying to go by the book on those and then just kind of like narrow down what we really do. So it's good because, we can set these tasks and it'll like be like, all right, these tasks are today, they can sync to your calendar, all that stuff. But it's also nice because it has like a budgeter accounting. I can do all my expenses in there, CSV them out, which is nice. I can also like put a bunch of expenses into a spreadsheet and then upload that mass and it'll just auto populate in there. So it's pretty good. I mean, like now we're starting to get in the nitty gritty of it because we're having so many projects go on that we're really starting to utilize it. And obviously it's still like a learning curve there, but so far it's done well for me. I think I'm paying $89 a month.
It's more than worth it. I mean, if you already have a software that works, the only other thing that I would say that like was the best thing I ever did, and she's not even fully trained, but hired someone else from another country to be doing all the receipt stuff and all the number stuff and all the like I pay someone actually more than I even have. Like she gets paid $10 an hour, which is in Brazil in reais. That's incredible. She's doing very well in her country. And I pay her $10, which is more than the usual because she speaks fluent English. She knows her stuff 100%. She's worked construction. She knows everything and like just very, very knowledgeable and skilled. But you can even pay someone from Thailand like $5 an hour. Like that's the normal to be doing all the receipt stuff, all this, all the budget stuff. So if that's the stuff that's like bogging you down and tying you over and like the nitty gritty stuff, because the project management and you being on site and you seeing like what has to be done next and doing the schedule stuff, that's stuff that you can't send off to someone online somewhere. That you have to be in person.
Very true. So we did do a VA way back in the day. Obviously we used them for different tasks, more of like cold calling and stuff like that, which I think we were paying him like, $4 an hour or something like that. But we're getting to the point now where we're going to start doing that. Like Johnny's going to have an assistant for his gigs. I'm going to have an assistant for doing, data entry, keeping track of receipts and doing all that stuff. So that's like the first step that we're looking to go down, is do that. Just, I don't know if you guys ever read the book, Buy Back Your Time. I know Lily has. Very, very valuable book. It's more of like figuring out which tasks can be automated, which tasks can be delegated, so on and so forth. So we're kind of in that phase of like, all right, can this be sent to a VA? Okay. Well, first it's like, all right, can this be automated through AI? Can this be automated somehow? Am I still coming through? I feel like I have a little bit of lag going on.
You have a
Good.
lag, but I can hear
I
you
can hear
fine.
you.
Yeah.
It's just the video.
So basically we're like, all right, so how can we automate it first, where we can use AI or some kind of free service to do it? Second is like, all right, can we delegate to somebody, just like you said, $10 an hour or something like 20 hours a week. But eventually we want to get to the point where I actually have a project manager, that I can meet in person with and actually can drive to my projects. So yeah, it's baby steps right now.
So couple of things. Rachel, would you be comfortable if I shared that form that you gave me for your receipts with Kenny?
Oh yeah.
So last week, so she gave me this form. I can't remember what I was doing, but she's like, you need this. And it was
I saw
awesome.
that you had sent your budget through to Andrew on like your spreadsheet, and I was like, I know I could do better than
Oh,
this.
yes. Yeah. But it's awesome. And so in a way, what you're doing is you're forcing anybody who's submitting a receipt or paying for things, like your contractors, they have to fill out this form of, this is what I bought, here's a copy of the receipt, or here's a picture of the receipt, so that you don't have to like micromanage everything. They can self-submit to get reimbursed for something. But it's a form that she created, so it's through Google Forms. One thing that I did last week is for our group, like, again, I want to have friends that don't steal from each other and do good work, and that's it. And so I have resources that we share with one another, and I just put it together today, like a resource folder. And so I'll add hers to it. But you being my mighty boomer that I worship, I will send you a link directly so you can check it out. She's also in our directory, so you can connect with her, during the week. But Kenny and his brother, they're located in Drake-it, right? Drake-it. They work kind of North Shore, Massachusetts. Rachael and her husband are located in like Malden, Everett, in the Boston area. Her husband is Brazilian, and I'm not gonna lie, Brazilians have been the best contractors I've had thus far. In the Olympics of like who's killing it, Puerto Ricans, Vietnamese. I just heard about a Venezuelan today and I've never tried one, but like the Brazilians, I'm in love with them. They're super fairly priced. They work really hard. Like that was another thing is like, I feel like if I hire somebody, they have no hustle. These Brazilians, they got the hustle. They got the pep in their step. I love it. So anyway, and then the next thing that I'll create is like a Rolodex of like preferred contractors, people that have been good to us. I have a list of like good people if you're on a budget, and you want to deal with attitude. And then I have like the Rolls Royce of people because sometimes you just need like the white glove service for whatever it is that you need. But I have a Rolodex coming of like contractors we use, we share, assets, referrals, that sort of deal. But I'll make sure you get her form. I'll make sure you have access to her number. That way you guys can connect. But she's baller. And you're in the baby steps of also being baller. And then she's the one that keeps her organized. She's the one that keeps her husband organized. So she's running the back office. She's the grease to the whole machine. Yeah, wonderful and lovely.
And by the way, she calls me Boomer. I'm not a boomer. It's a nickname, but I'm also 38, so don't think I'm in my 50s or 60s. Even though I have gray.
Are you 38?
I turned 39 on Thursday.
Poor guy.
Oh, so
Happy birthday.
we're a year off. Oh. So
Poor
me
guy.
calling you older.
Calling him boomer.
Yeah, Boomer.
Well, boomer for different things. We were talking about mushrooms at one point, and it just made sense. And yeah, old man tendencies. That's okay. But yeah, I can't believe I'm your age. I didn't know that. For some reason I thought like 40 is so out there. I also consider 40 like over the hill because things are happening to me where like I'm losing my hair and I feel like I'm losing my memory. And I keep thinking like I'm approaching the hill. I'm over the hill. I feel the hill coming onto me. I didn't realize you're 38. I don't know why. I'm 38 this year. Yeah. Yeah.
Could be why. Believe me,
It's coming.
when me and my brother play pool, people come to us and say, "Oh, father-son pool night." Nice. Obviously, he's, but yeah, I get it all the time.
Well, I think
Lily,
me up too much. I definitely do not have all that knowledge, but I am happy to help anything. The best advice someone gave to me when we sold one of our first flips was sell as is.
Yeah.
You don't know what happened in the property before. So that was one of the best pieces of advice I ever got. Because I had no idea that Massachusetts was so communist and had such terrible laws for everything involved legally for construction and building and liability. So
Yeah, Mass is really tough. We try to do ours in New Hampshire, but Mass is tough.
Rachel, what is the opposite of selling as is?
So I don't think there's any opposite, but when you sell it as is, like your liability is still there. Which I had a whole like thing with my attorney, like, what do you mean you could still be liable as is? You could still be liable. Not that they could get anywhere, but they'll just cost you a lot of money in attorney fees.
Yeah.
Essentially. But selling it as is, it means like you get it exactly the way it is. I'm giving no warranties on the property. Like the way it is the way you're getting it. Even if the house is fully redone and beautiful. Hey, I haven't lived in this house. Like I've seen this house for 4 months. I don't know if in the winter time, like the basement will flood or something will happen. Like, unless you're building the house from scratch, you cannot warranty the house or you cannot say what could happen because you just don't know. You haven't been there long enough. You haven't seen everything.
Yeah, sure.
I wish
We had one where
I
it was,
talked to you.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I wish I talked to you because I sold 125 Haverhill Street with labor warranties.
No,
Ooh.
wait, hang on, hang on.
Ugh.
Who specifically gave the labor warranty?
So
Your
technically,
LLC?
no, technically, yeah, because what I ended up doing is I bought it in a fire sale with New Western. I had it in my personal name. I couldn't move it out of it at the last minute. I couldn't get it for an LLC. So what I ended up doing when I sold it is I transferred it to my LLC and then I sold it to the end buyer. And then the people that I hire, all of them stand by their work. And they're like, we'll give you a labor warranty. Essentially, if we installed it incorrectly, if we installed it incorrectly, we'll come back and adjust it if it needs adjusting
For how long?
for a year.
So 1 year is by law. They have no choice. They have to give you a
Oh,
1 year.
okay. Jesus Christ.
Do you have all of their insurance information?
No, I should get
single
that,
person.
huh?
You should have gotten COIs from everyone that worked on your job site. Certificate of insurance for,
Okay.
it should be, I mean, ideally you want both. You want general liability and workers' compensation, because if someone breaks an arm on your job site, you want to make sure that they're covered. But so your LLC gave a 1 year labor warranty, is that right?
Yes. And then any warranties that I had, like insulation gave me a 1 year insulation warranty. My gutter guy gave me 5 years against leaks. My HVAC, like all those warranties, I just pass it off to them. A lot of even the appliances come with manufacturer warranty. And I told them, I was like, listen, I didn't register for anything. If you need my receipt number, I'll give it to you. But like you register the purchase in your name. Therefore, when, problems arise, you deal with it head on.
So you know what the problem is? The problem isn't even what you signed, but it's Massachusetts law. So if something ever happens, let's say something drastic happens to this house, they will claim that you were a builder, that you were not an investor, that you were a builder. As a builder, you have 6 years of liability. So they will claim that you built this house, you were the builder on this property, and you have 6 years liability. And
I
that
don't
as
like
a
that at all.
builder, and like, let's say, oh, I had no idea that this could have happened. Doesn't matter. As a builder, you're supposed to know.
Even if I don't have like a license to be a builder?
Yes. Because you built it for the purpose of investment. So legally, Massachusetts is a communist state. I don't say this to scare you. I say this
Yeah.
just in terms of like, I'm sure nothing will happen. There's like, I'm sure it's totally fine. But it's just like one of those types of things that like that we've seen that like we're getting sued right now for a lake house property that we did that because we did not build the property. We did not fully gut the property. We did not do a whole lot of things. We did a kitchen renovation and a bathroom renovation. And we renovated part of the basement. Apparently, the prior owner hid the fact that there was water coming into the basement. We owned the property for 5 months. We never saw any water, never saw anything, didn't see anything. And so and the house was sold as is. He had 4 inspections of the house.
Wow.
4 inspections, house sold as is. So he is now costing me a lot of money in legal fees, which will get nowhere, but again, legal fees.
So my question is this: what's the point of as is?
Oh, you know what? I ask my lawyer the same thing. I
No,
freaking ask my attorney the same thing.
I mean, here's the thing: you sell somebody a vehicle as is, right?
Yeah.
I can't go back to that person and be like, listen, it didn't pass inspection. I don't know. It's just,
So I'll pause you here because I have a complaint filed against Z. There's a law in Massachusetts, and I don't know the name of it, but it's like 93-AB something. It's a triple damages thing to say that if she is the builder, so a normal homeowner doesn't know these things, but if this is her industry of expertise, the responsibility lies on her to disclose XYZ, to prep them for XYZ. And if she did not, then according to this triple damages, they are not only getting their damages, they're getting 3 times the amount because it's seen as it's her responsibility and she shirked her responsibility. I don't know if that's the case for this one. I just know that there was a precedent set. I've had that used against me, and like I did the novation thing and they try to use that shit. And then now I'm using that against Z. But it exists in Massachusetts. So gunslinging in Massachusetts, things you can definitely do. Yeah, it's interesting because the listing agent that worked with me, she's like, don't write anything on the seller's disclosure. You don't have to fill that out. You did not live in the property. And so I kind of like it having a good agent watch your back for you. No, we're not going around trying to, hide things from people and whatever. Shit happens. And sometimes it's easy to point the finger at a builder where you think they have the most amount of money, let me go after them. But that doesn't mean that the fault lies with them. Yeah.
Yeah. And let me tell you, this is a project that everything went wrong. We had estimated $160,000 in profit, ended up with like 80. Like everything had gone wrong at this place. And the reason why you do as is because in the court of law, like the judge will throw this out, right? What it's going to cost me is a boatload of legal fees, which it is, but the judge will throw this out. Why? Because what they're trying to prove that they cannot prove is that we knew about it and that we had malicious intent to hide it, which we did not know about it, and we did not have malicious intent. So like that's the type of thing that like, and also like the fact that we said, hey, you bought this property as is. You had someone come in, you had someone inspect the property. Not once, not twice, 4 times someone came in and inspected the property. So like all of these things are really helpful for your case to make sure that you're protected in case of any liability. And like you said, like we got this from a broker that had sold this. He said to Doug, hey, sell the property as is. And Doug said, why? We renovated the property, it's fine. And he goes, you haven't lived in this property. You don't know what could happen with this property. Seller is selling as is. Seller has not lived in the home.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my horror story to say. It probably won't happen, but we've seen everything in a can of worms. So if you can sell a flip as it, development you can't. If you're developing something, like you have a certain type of stuff. And Suzanne, I don't know if someone would have taken it as is, right? Like someone would have looked at it and they would have gotten scared off at it, right? Like maybe you couldn't have done that. But flips, absolutely. Especially when you're like doing like, hey, I'm doing some painting, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like sell it as is. Like I've never lived in it. I haven't seen everything that there has to see in this home. We painted, we did some flooring, we did this, we did that. You get the house the way it is.
So basically you're saying like by default, just do as is, no matter what. No matter what.
It's a safer way for you to approach things. And at the end of the day, if you have a great agent, your great agent will deliver that as is message in a way that settles just fine. If we say as is, it might not land well, but the way that they'll do it, it'll land better. But as is a better approach than what I did.
When I look at as is, immediately I think I cut my buyer pool down naturally, right? I mean, like someone looks at it as is home, they're like, all right, so what's wrong with it? But
no, I think that's our background as cash buyers. Like that's a buzzword for us to buy. Like when we hear as is because of the shit that we've been through, we're like, oh, dollar signs, like we're about to go down. But I think for a normal average buyer, when they hear as is, I think to me, if I was to hear as is as a normal buyer, I would think like there's no shot for seller concessions, so don't even bother kind of deal. Yeah. That's what I hear. So you might just be thinking of it differently.
I think
put in the line like seller has not lived in the home. So seller has not lived in the home. It is as is. That makes it clear as to why. Why is it as is? I've never lived there.
Yep.
Like, I had someone call me today like, hey, I want to finish my attic in Rosendale. I said, okay, great. Like when they sold it to you, was it finished? Oh, it was half finished. Okay, is it legally finished? Are the permits for it finished? Like, so it's that type of thing that it's like, okay, let's say I was to buy his house, right? Like, unless you're tracking down every single permit, making sure every single aspect is up to code, it's legal, it's this, it's that, it's as is, like you don't want to take on any extra liability if you don't have to. So I just offer that since you're starting into the flipping thing, and that was the best piece of advice we ever got.
This is good to know. I have so many questions, so many concerns.
You can add I don't know if we have time for all of them, but you
No,
can
no,
with
no.
all
I
anytime.
actually I have to cut pretty soon here, but no, I'm glad I jumped in on this because I already got a lot out of it. Again, Rachel, thank you. And we'll be talking. Obviously, Suzanne will be talking.
Yeah.
Because I want to do all my flips in New Hampshire, but life's not perfect. A lot of ours are Mass, which I'm finding out Mass is ass for New Hampshire. It sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's like you can't even replace a faucet without some inspector climbing up your ass.
You cannot do, like, let me tell you, construction wise, Massachusetts is a mafia. We live in a mafia here, and you have to either embrace them. Yes, the mafia, just like this. You got to embrace the mafia. Like here in Massachusetts, everyone is different, but like I've seen a lot of people get into flips into bad situations. Like we don't get into a flip here unless there's a minimum of $100,000 profit, because like here, when stuff goes wrong, it's so incredibly expensive. Like just plumbing and electrical on a kitchen, you're $10,000 at least just to do those two things. You have to bring everything up to code. You can't do anything yourself here. Technically, to swap out a toilet, you're supposed to get a permit in Massachusetts. So like if an inspector wants to give you a hard time, which I've seen many times, he absolutely can. And as soon as an inspector sees that you're flipping a project for profit, I'll give you just a fast story. This lake house, we passed rough inspection. The house is clean. It's been cleaned by cleaners, professionally clean. Everything is done. The electrical inspector comes in, says, "Oh, I see you've done a renovation here." "Yes, we did the floors, we did the kitchen, we did the bathroom, this and this." "Yeah, you have to redo the electrical in all the bedrooms." "What do you mean we have to redo the electrical in all the bedrooms? The place is done. The place has been cleaned." "What do you mean?" "Yes, I see that you're redoing the entire house, so I want you to bring everything up to code." You passed us on rough inspection. You saw everything on rough inspection. The house has been cleaned. So we had to rip open
This is the same dude who saw your rough and you're
on
fine.
final. He said, "You're selling this house. You're flipping this property. You're bringing everything up to code. Rip it out." So we then had to redo electrical in all the bedrooms to bring it all up to code. And the place had been cleaned by cleaners.
No.
Had to redo everything.
Did you try to give him a charcuterie board?
We did not try and do that, but Massachusetts inspectors are, let me tell you, they can be difficult.
Awesome.
What was your other option if you didn't bring the rooms up to standard? Option 2 is what? Go cry to the building inspector?
Building inspector does not care. They will take the side of, the building inspector doesn't care what the electrical inspector says, right? So like you could go and try and fight the town and fight the people that work there, and then you'll just never work there again. Like you could make a big stink about it. Like what we say is like, there's no such thing as code here. There's just inspectors.
Yeah.
Same thing here with plans examiners. There's no such thing as a plans examiner. There's no such thing as code for plans examiners. There's just the examiner. It's whoever's desk it falls on, that they see it and they open it up and they give their opinion. Like a lot of them will let a lot of crap slide. A lot of them will get you for every little nitty-gritty item. So it's,
yeah, because we've dealt with, we're dealing with mass inspections now, but like New Hampshire was absolute breeze. Even Portsmouth, which word is Portsmouth, if you guys know of Portsmouth, New Hampshire. It's super hoity-toity. So I figured it was going to be brutal. But the guy came in and he goes, "Yeah, well, I'll let that slide." That kind of guy. I was like, "Hey man, no problem. Hey, what kind of beer you drink?" I kept it clean. Yeah. So it's like, I was used to that because our first flips were in New Hampshire. Now, we just did one in Billerica. We have one right down the street that I'm doing right now as well with this guy Harry, which is Gordon's ex GC, Suzanne. He's great.
Okay.
But he's like, "Dude, Mass?" I'm like, "What's wrong?" Obviously now I'm aware of everything, but yeah, it's luckily in Mass, like that's where, again, we're doing the 6-figure flip kind of thing. So I'm hoping that these fluff and buffs that we do, hope we're not running into the same junk, but we'll see. I mean, I'm going to be confiding in you, Rachel and Suzanne, because I don't want to get porked here. I want to do things by the book as much as I can and make sure I'm not stepping on toes. And that's the thing too, is like, I don't want to skate by these guys and piss them off. And then I have another deal that comes up there where I'm like, oh, great, that guy fucking hates me. Here we go.
Well, anytime you
Oh,
give a call and give a best piece of advice. Massachusetts is difficult. But it's doable, right? Like I don't want to freak you out. Like our thing of like when inspectors come in, you make nice, you make friends, but shut up and don't say a word, right?
Yeah.
Like it even better if like we have homeowners do it oftentimes for like clients, like send someone in that doesn't know anything, like I'm so sorry for the sexist. If you have a woman, send in a woman because very nice, very unassuming. Unless you catch an inspector on a bad day, then he'll be like, what the hell? You need someone that knows what they're doing here. Then like then it's a problem. But most of the time you send someone in nice, they'll take a look at things. Even if something's wrong, he'll be like, what's going on here? Be like, what do you mean? What can we do? And try and work with the person.
That's the way I've played it, because we're technically at their mercy, where
in all honesty, my experience has never been shit. I'm on like number 5 or 6. But I don't know. I'm a woman and I got a cute little dog that I bring in with me and I wave Rupert in their face all the time. I let him walk all over their desk and he's my lucky charm. But at the end of the day, I've never seen somebody from town like maliciously want to fuck you over. For them, they're just trying to do things by the book. They're not trying to cause problems. They're not trying to have unsafe shit because that's when shit blows up. They just want to do good work, period. And if you make it easy if you do good work, you make it easy for them to understand your good work, there's no reason to come after you.
Yeah.
That's been my feeling. Unless you piss somebody off, unless you are trying to be malicious, unless you have no license, you're doing like below the belt work or whatever the expression is. That's when they start to, bring the heavy down on you. But if you're a good guy, if you're doing good solid work, there's no reason.
Yep.
The
It'll be
biggest problem
fine.
with flippers is like there's often stuff that like you'll miss in your scope that's like has to be brought up to code. Then that's the stuff that like it'll kill you a little bit to get done. Like in a basement, let's say you change out the carpet and you paint the walls, right? An inspector could come in and say, hey, like there's not enough natural light here. You need an ERV unit. You're like, what do you mean I need an ERV unit? ERV is like fresh air coming in because that's being brought up to code. Hey, why do I have to bring it up to code? You touch it, you own it. It's like, it's those types of conversations that it's like, yeah, the inspectors aren't like always out there to kill you, but like some of them will be like, they'll make you go above and beyond, which it just sometimes can end up being bad on you if you missed it on the scope. So like some of these like smaller projects, it can be tough because an inspector will look at it like he looked at the lake house and said, nope, you painted everything, you did all the flooring, you touched everything, you're redoing all the electrical. So like it's that type of thing that like it depends on who you get. If you get them on a good day, if you get them on a bad day, how it is and how thorough you are in the scope, right? Like if you're getting all folks from New Hampshire that don't know Massachusetts code to come down here and do work and do all this and like you don't have someone checking these things, it'll be a headache for you because then you're going to have to run into that code thing of like figuring out what to do to be brought up.
And actually, I hate to cut it short, but I do have to run. I'll
Hi,
try to
Kenny.
join. So nice meeting you. For those who I don't know, for those who I do know, it's good to see you again. And yeah, you guys will be hearing from me, and hopefully see you guys next Tuesday. I appreciate the time. Good to see you all.
Have a good one,
Bye,
man.
Boomer.
See you. Meet
Thanks.
you.
If Lily wants to unmute, I would love for you guys to meet Lily. So Lily is part of the Fothergill team. She actually used to be an accountant, and then I want to say about 1.5, 2 years ago, transitioned into TC and is doing such a good job of TC. She has a team of 2.5 people right now because 2 full-time, 1 part-time. Yeah, and she used to be a former, so the way that top top tier TC consulting that program worked is they used to have like local leadership groups, and Lily was one of the leaders. But right now she works with the Fothergill team, very good friends with the Fothergills for years. And then thank goodness they were able to help her come to the dark side of real estate. Lily, introduce yourself to people who don't know you and tell us a little bit about what you got going on.
Besides stuffing my face, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry. Um, Thanks, Suzanne. My name is Lily. So before I was a transaction coordinator, I was an accountant. I went to school to be an accountant. Fun stuff. Didn't like it, but I went to school for it. So I figured, let's put my degree to good use. Worked around the Seaport area for 10 years up to COVID. Around that time, that's when I pivoted, found sub two, introvert, hate sales. So I was like, let's go with the paperwork side. I know, paperwork. Conveniently enough, before when I was an accountant, I specifically focused on revenue accounting. So a lot of it had to do with contracts, dealing with communicating with the sales team to make sure that they close a deal, all the information is correct in the first place. And then, bringing it all the way to the full cycle, invoicing, paying their commission. So a lot of the TC side is parallel to that, just in real estate instead. So the transition was easy in that sense, but learning all the lingles of real estate, dealing with different dramas, all the sexy real estate stuff. So that was definitely not something that I was used to. And then obviously even the sales side, which I think not a lot of people talked a lot about, which is, especially if you're running your own TC business, there's a sales aspect of it, which I did not realize at the beginning. So I think that's something that was a learning curve, but I'm trying to lean into that a little bit more, upping my social media, my presence, and just sharing my knowledge. And yeah, so that's about it.
Lily,
Hmm?
what makes you great? What do you think makes you great at what you do?
I think I'm really good at what I do is because I love to learn. I like to see things through, and I like to think I'm the hardest person, hardest working person in there. So I basically sleep at my desk as a TC in a sense. And because I'm a workaholic, which is terrible, but that's why I get shit done in a sense, and I just like and I think the fact that real estate is very interesting and it is something that I enjoy. So I like to see and learn different aspects of it. I like to keep up with the industry's, I don't know, laws, regulation, all the fun stuff to basically keep my investors on their toes, right? I think a lot of, you guys probably seen Rocket Mortgage just calling notes due left and right, which we've known that in the TC world, but the fact that they've acquired Mr. Cooper. So that's an interesting take now. So I think some of the files that we have on hand right now, we have to pivot it a little bit on how we acquire the property on the back end. So just being that type of resourceful TC that cares. I mean, I could have just pushed a file and just say, well, you can wait until maybe if you get a due on sale, or we can just sort of be proactively working and just thinking this through and dealing, and I guess not dealing, but feeling get a feel of your risk tolerance and have that conversation with the investor. Some of them are like, we'll just wait until they call. Some of them are a little bit more cautious, and so they like to explore different options that I've seen out there.
I think I told you about my due on sale.
Mhm.
Yeah. So the house that I'm in right now, I think the principal on it was 170, and then there was an additional 70,000 on top of it as a second mortgage. So she ruined her first mortgage. She got a loan modification. They did, what's it called when you put it on the back end of the mortgage and it's a silent second or something? I used to know all these terms of it. But the silent second was the one that became a problem. That one was Round Point, and they wanted to call it due once they saw that ownership had transferred names. And they kept asking me for the same damn thing, and I kept giving them an answer. And then at one point, they scared the hell out of me. I ended up hiring Caleb Christopher, who's like a very old friend of mine. He's a super genius when it comes to this kind of stuff, very proactive about it, is like writing the Bible of TC. He was the first TC guy out there. I was on the call when he like left his job and was like, I'm gonna do it. And then he did it, and he's fabulous. I bought a set of trust documents from Florida, and we were going to do the whole trust thing and hide the name and blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, they kept like threatening something. And then I remember one day I was just so tired of them every single like 2 weeks hounding me and feeling stressed out that I was just like, fuck it, do it, come for me. What do you want? Like, okay, fine, have it. Do your worst, do your dirty. And fucking radio silent, they disappeared after that. And so I was like, because the first note is performing, I'm paying on it. And technically I can't, can I? I don't even know if I can sell the house without discharging the other two, whatever. So I don't know what the answer is, but I plan on making good on it. I haven't changed my tune. My note is current, so leave me alone.
Yeah.
But I don't know what's going to happen. I know Mr. Cooper was one of the nice ones. Like I did another sub too with a Mr. Cooper. They haven't called me to say anything on that one. That was like a 3-family in Gardner.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Guys,
So
Mr.
Massachusetts.
Sharkey.
Rachel and Matt, rock, paper, scissors for who gets to talk first.
Let Matt go. I've talked too much.
No, I just didn't know Mr. Cooper. Like, what is that in reference to?
It's a mortgage company. So PHH, Mr. Cooper, Celine Finance, Rocket Mortgage,
Oh, okay.
they are debt servicers. So you have whenever there's a mortgage, it's originated at some point in time. That's the origination bank. But like a month after they originated, they sell it or they give it to some sort of servicing company. And those are the people that hound you and collect the debt every single month. There's a difference between if your note is current, meaning you're making on-time payments, then it's a performing note and that note is worth a lot of money, versus if you are not making payments on the note, then that note goes from like 100% value all the way down to 10%. So that's why when you get into foreclosures, they kind of get like assigned to these other banks for pennies on the dollar because they're trying to collect that money on a non-performing note, which is highly unlikely. It's a whole thing. So anyway, it's considered a servicing company. And they're big enough, like PHH, I think might be the biggest, or it's the one that I've seen the most of. And like, I remember even when I heard of Mr. Cooper the first time, I'm like, what are you even talking about? But I've done a sub 2 for them. They've never said anything to me. So the problematic one that I had, I can't remember, I have to look up, SPS servicing is my first position. And then my second position is called Round Point. Round Point was the one that was trying to do the due on sale clause. SPS doesn't care if I get my money from cocaine or hookers. They just care that I make my payment every single month.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. You don't have mortgages? You don't have debt? Don't you get like mortgage statements coming in?
I never look at them. I just pay the bills.
So who's looking at it? Is it Kelly?
No, I run it all through like software. So it just
Okay.
piles up on the back end for the tax guy at the end of the year. Like there's no change in any of them. You know what I mean? So it's just a constant bill.
There's a name at the top. Whenever you pay them, it's going to be like, BSI initiated the draw for this much money or whatever the case may be.
Or Mr. Cooper before. I've never, you guys were, I thought it was like a man.
No, you don't know Mr. Cooper?
Oh, no,
Yeah.
Mr.
I actually didn't. I mean, I assumed it was a mortgage thing because of the context, but I didn't know. I mean, I know the other two, like PHH and BSI, but like I know them because like of recent mortgages that have those. But my two conventional loans don't have that. They have like the name of the person that sold me the mortgage. They have like
That's impressive.
like cross-country
Well,
mortgage and something else.
I've never heard of them. I don't know, but Yeah, so usually you have an originating bank or wherever, credit union, wherever the loan was originated first. And then very quickly, at least for me, even my hard money loans, that they've gone to, well, half and half. I think half have gone to like some sort of debt collector. It's just another middleman. It's really annoying, but it is what it is. But those are the ones that come for you when things are problems. It's their job to like either make you perform on the note or make you do stuff. And then there's the discharging lender, I guess, is sometimes like if they are having it being serviced by one company, but the lender still owns it, then this is the thing you got to figure out, especially when it comes to foreclosures. Because one person is just servicing versus the other one is the actual decision maker on it.
So I have 2 of my properties under conventional mortgages. And in all of this legal business, I have learned a lot of legal things and have had lots of lawyer things. And then I've also, in the meantime, said to like lawyers, like, hey, how do we make everything to have the least amount of liability possible in any circumstance? Because also, like, we deal with clients, we do a lot of business in different places. And like, thank God we've never had anything until now, but how do we limit liability for all this type of stuff? And so one of the things that we were working on is transferring our conventional mortgages into LLCs, like holding those instead of under our name, holding them under LLCs. And what he had originally said was like, you have to get permission from the mortgage company to do that. But then also like, that's a whole like sub 2 thing that like nobody gets permission, but I don't know if it's like, I don't know, like I know a good amount about sub 2 and everything, but Massachusetts laws, like I feel like I just haven't seen like lots and lots of people do sub 2 here because of all the legal stuff. And like I feel like the liability and everything of sub 2 here, maybe I don't know enough about it, but it like whenever I looked into it, I was like, I don't know how it would work in Massachusetts. So I kind of stayed away from it.
There was an unfavorable ruling, I want to say like back in 2022 or 21. It was like a girlfriend and boyfriend situation. And so there was an unfavorable ruling. I remember for the longest time, Joette Trin out of Connecticut wouldn't do stuff. There was another attorney up north who also wouldn't do stuff. And then you get the young guys that are like, it's a crock of shit and I'll live my life and I'll do what I want. So I feel like you have a lot of attorneys because I have a litigation attorney is totally different than my like paper pushing real estate title company closing person. And then you have somebody who's like, I wonder if I should introduce you to, or if I should make the Rolodex finally. I have this great probate estate planning attorney that does all this liability stuff. And right now I have a monthly call I do with him for absolutely free. It's for any of our probate clients that, have the questions where they're too nervous to ask their own probate attorney because they're worried about getting billed. This guy used to get paid like $6,000 an hour plus, and he does it for free. He's really sweet, but we can ask him. That's not a problem. I feel like in the past, when I've heard this, it's been you put the property in a trust and then you make the LLC the beneficiary of the trust, is how I remember it.
Yeah, so for your conventional, like both your mortgages are conventional.
2 out of the 4 properties have conventional mortgages.
And what do the other 2 have?
They each have, one has a kind of a version of a DSCR, and then the other one has a no doc loan.
Okay. Yeah.
We actually just got both of those. So those are actually both getting refinanced this next upcoming year.
Yeah, so you'll be into it with a conventional within a year, which isn't a big deal. But there's a firm that I use out of Texas, and I'm not sure if they do Delaware, like where they're doing their series LLCs, but you want like, I can give you the firm name or we can text or whatever, but like you want the LLC up here and then it's the parent and then the children, and each child is the, each individual house. So you're limiting your liability to the one specific property by farming them all out individually, right? So all of our rentals are set up that way. So if I have a catastrophic loss or multiple death or whatever it may be, they can only grab onto that one thing. But at the same time, I'm putting HELOCs on anything I own. So if something catastrophic happens today, I'm going to the bank tomorrow, taking all of that money out. So there's 0.0 like potential. That's so come and find under my mattress because you're not going to get it from the from the bank.
I love you. You're such like an old man, old white
Hey,
guy.
listen,
Like these are like the old white guy schemes that like I would have never dreamed of. They
yeah,
make total sense, but I love that you spend your waking days thinking about this and then putting it into action. This isn't some fever dream of yours. You've actually done this. I love
yeah.
this.
Listen, people are dirty. People are nasty. This is not like 20 years ago where like a slip, trip, and fall causes
Yeah.
like neck damage and you're debilitated for life. Like that's a house payout. That's losing a whole property, you know?
Yeah. I forgot you're from the hood of Springfield.
Not the hood of,
So this makes sense.
listen, east of, or was it west of Worcester, right? Like these are west of Worcester problems.
The other thing about Matt is it's funny, I had forgotten about this. He's very good with money. Like very good about like borrowing money. He was the one that did this like hard money loan where he didn't make you didn't make any payments every month, right? You paid like 2% up front, 2% on the back end, and it was a done deal.
Well, no, it was 100%. Like one of the ones I use is 100%, I think, rehab, and then like 90%. They've changed from like 100 to 90 covered. So 10% down.
Yeah. But
And
I think you paid like 2 points up front and 2 points on the back end, and then you had no interest payments every single month.
well, no, because I think I used my own cash. Well, I had interest every month. It was just I just used my cash for the rehab. So limited the interest per month. So I'm only doing one or two a year.
But I think you had your interest deferred until you close out the loan, meaning you didn't have to make interest payments along the way.
Correct. Yes.
Right. That's a big thing.
That was
That
huge.
hurts
Two
cash flow.
lenders that do that. I have three lenders that do balloon payments. That's the only way we do hard money.
Great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully my
So
numbers are right, right?
I have a Rolodex that I'm going to put together because out of nowhere, in the beginning, I couldn't get a damn lender to give me money. And now they're all like, talk to me. And I'm like, I don't have anything right now, but there's a shit ton of lenders out there. And I love the balloon payment ones. If that's how you're having fun, like, cool, let's talk about that. Matt, I'll get yours too. There's also like Matt Fitzgerald. There's so many different people. So at the end of the day, like one thing that I love is this guy, Brent Daniels, who says, talk to people. And I don't know what he means by that exactly, but any issue I've ever had or not known how to solve, it's just talking to everybody. Literally like the cashier at Walmart, I don't care. The person who does my tooth cleaning, chat them up and see where the answers come because you never know where it is coming from. Yeah. But I will put together a Rolodex so that we can do more business together with good people, period. And not have to schlep around with what I call jabronis. Yeah.
That's a very Brazilian thing. Like that's something Doug taught me is like, I am very American. Like if I have a problem, I will Google and I will look online and I will do that. Like that's what I do. And if he has a problem, he will start making calls. Hey, have you heard of
Yeah.
someone who does this? Hey, have you done? And like he'll call his barber and be like, yeah, do you know a guy that does tile? Or like he'll just start making calls and like this person will call this person that like it'll just be like that community network. And he taught me that. And I'm like, dude, and sometimes like as an American, I'm not that social sometimes. So I'm like, I just want to do my Googling and find whatever I want. But
Yeah.
talking to people is key.
Dude, the barber shop, at some point I figured out the barber shop. So the barber shop is one good spot, and then Brazilian churches are my other favorite spot. But you got to get the women at the Brazilian churches, and then you got to get the guy with the nicest fade and the biggest golden chain at the barber shop, because those are the ones that they're respected and they're having those kind of conversations. But I agree with you. All right, we're getting a little bit late. It's about 30 minutes. The thing I wanted to ask you for this week, because again, the whole point of this is for us to have a safe space for us to talk where people don't steal from each other. And Matt knows this because he was a little bit of the inspiration when I went on my journey of theft or like being the victim of theft. But having good friends makes the whole world go round, sort of deal. So I want you guys to be here. I want you to be seen. I want you to be heard. Question of the week is, what is the biggest problem you're trying to solve right now? What's the biggest thing you're wrestling with? Last week's question was, what's the most exciting thing happening this week? And then I challenged everybody to make an Instagram post, and in exchange, I would release a diaper video. I still have my diaper video, so that's still an option. But you know, maybe by the end of the year, they'll figure it out and they'll post. We'll see. But the question this week is, what's the biggest thing you're wrestling with?
I mean, for me,
Let's
it's a
start with
constant of just always getting more because SEO is a slow crawl. You know what I mean? So it's just always trying to make sure I'm as tight as I can be there, but I never really know if I am, you know, because it's always changing. So it's a constant. I can never get away from it, you know?
Do we know in our network anyone else who's doing really strong SEO stuff?
I mean, I've got like the guy that I hire is, I don't know. I don't want to say he's like the third best in the country, but he's damn good, you know?
Third best in our country or third best in his country?
Our,
That's a big difference.
where we're standing collectively, sitting collectively.
Oh, okay, good. Oh, boy.
No, he's pretty, like, I take his advice and his direction as much as I can. And I depend on, you know?
What about, and I think you might have come to the meetup. Do you remember the guy who runs I Speed to Lead, Gene Blinkov?
Yes.
You were there. I'm pretty sure I remember the picture.
And I did it right after me and Tiz did like a little roundabout with a couple purchases there, but that's like PPC stuff. Like I've got
He has changed dramatically.
Yeah.
He's based in like Russia / another country I can't think of. But he's pretty epic, and he's from New Hampshire, and he's trying to move back here. He's recently synced up with the Sandville boys, and he's running their campaigns. He's also been running, don't quote me on this because this may or may not be the thing. But I think he's also working with no, I'm gonna lie. That's not a thing. I remembered it wrong.
That's okay.
But Sean Sandville, they're working with the Sean Sandville team. I have his number. You want me to put you in contact with him?
No, because I like SEO is like more organic, right? PPC is like the chasing.
But remember how I just said talk to people?
Yeah.
He's the best person I probably have in my Rolodex right now that I can give you.
Oh no, I know, but that's like PPC. I'm not doing PPC.
That's okay. Just chop it up with him because maybe he knows the SEO guy because he runs in PPC world.
Sucked into doing PPC, I'll get convinced. I'm easily convinced.
You're soft. Where's your backbone?
I got no backbone.
Listen, he's the best in my Rolodex. I'm gonna put you on a group chat and you can just die on the inside. But I'll put you on a group chat with him, and I just want you to chat it up with him, talk to him, figure out who's doing SEO in your area. If he has a contact for you, he has developers on his side. He has cool people.
Yeah.
I don't know, Mark or Lily, Rachel, if you know anyone else who's doing SEO that can talk to Matt.
I mean, I am not the web person. The only person I know is the person that built our website that does all of our photography and videography and everything like that. And he does like websites and stuff. I don't think he's big into like the search engine and like anything like that, but I think he does like a really good job at like designing stuff and creating. So if that's ever helpful.
Do you have a competitor in Boston? I feel like Boston is super competitive, but do you have a competitor in Boston who has like a big fancy website that gets a lot of their leads through their website?
We have many competitors in Boston.
Yeah.
So it's funny, like we still get leads through our website too. Most of our leads are like word of mouth. But something that I found in Boston, like there's so much business in Boston. Like we don't even consider it competition because there's just like other people consider it competition, which makes me like, I would love to call any of these other companies of our size and be like, hey, let me take you out to lunch and like talk with the owner of them and see how they do stuff. And everyone has something to learn and grow from, but they would never do it because we're competition, right? Like we're direct competitors. Like we could be 10 minutes away. But yeah, no. There are some folks that do a good job and get like website traffic and stuff like that, but a lot of them that do website traffic, it's because they have so many reviews that they get the traffic goes to them because of their reviews.
Exactly it. There's a guy that's beating me in Boston. He's from Boston. I don't, if I said the name, I just tried to Google it.
Jose Velney.
Not him,
He's
no.
crushing.
Yeah, we went to Carrot Camp together. That's where I met him.
Okay, so you probably know of Keith Sant. That's
Yeah.
who I was gonna say. Okay.
No, I worked with Keith for a bit. So like the guy I'm working with now worked for Carrot and branched off from them. But yeah, Keith is the man.
I don't know him. I'm just part of that Facebook group, and
Yeah.
I've been thinking when I have the money to maybe throw it that way eventually.
Yeah. So either Keith or Brian Seekin, I can give you his contact if you're ever interested. But he's super, like he knows.
Matt, why are you not talking to Keith or Brian?
No, I'm hired with Brian, and Keith is like his competition.
Oh, that would be awkward, huh?
No, he just goes about it a different way. I like the way Brian goes about it, but they're both highly regarded, like top tier guys. Yeah. But the guy in my area is beating me in SEO, and he's in Boston. That's how big, like back to your like comment of reviews, right? Like Rachael, he's got like 500 reviews because he's a conglomerate, and it's just he's touching me out here. Like I can't beat him.
Just curious, who is it? Is it?
I maybe it's OC buys homes.
Ocean City. That's
City.
Tom. OCD. Yeah, that's Tom Caffarella, my broker. Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Tell him to stop.
He won't. There's no stop.
Tell him to stop, Mark.
Yeah, but
no,
like
I don't like it. Yeah.
Here's the thing. You just have to be like nicer and more personable. And a lot of people do not like that company just because like they're fucking aggressive. They're ruthless. Like they get out there and they get deals, they crush deals, but just be nicer.
Matt, do you know their business model?
OC? I don't.
Yeah.
I can only imagine it's buying everything that they can because they've got the ability to. Yeah, that's about.
So I don't know if this is exactly, and Mark, you want to tell it?
Yeah. So I mean so I learned everything from Whiteacre, and Whiteacre learned everything from him. So everything I've been doing basically comes from him. So but he's doing fix and flips anywhere in New England, plus New York, plus maybe even elsewhere in the country if the numbers work right. But he primarily like New England. So he's doing that. He used to spend a ton on marketing and texts and mail, and he still does. But now he's like switching gears, and basically he's looking to partner with anybody out there to bring him deals, and he'll split 50-50. So like he understands that like the marketing spend is so crazy, so he's trying to limit that. Plus, he has his brokerage of 300 or 400 agents. Plus, he's like partnering with any agent or anyone who has a pulse that will bring him a lead or a deal. And it's like it's actually good. He's changing the market because what's happening is he's partnering 50-50. So like other people are following suit. Like, why would I go bring a lead to you if you're gonna give me 10 grand when I could bring it to him? He'll fund it, he'll flip it, he'll sell it. I don't have to do anything, and he'll give me 50% of the proceeds. So that's like his shift that he's kind of been making, but he'll do like ground up multifamily construction and stuff like that as well.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, he's crushing, but
I also think that's one of the reasons why he has to be so aggressive is because instead of paying a wholesaler $10,000 finder's fee, he now has to split 50-50. It now has to be worth his while because he's doing the whole goddamn thing. The finder's fee is 50% of the profit split. That's a big chunk of change. So
I think it's to cast a wider net, to be honest, because like I think he just wants to continue to grow and continue to cast a wider net. But here's the thing: what do you want your marketing spend to be a year? $10 million or something? Like that's what it has to be. If you're sending mailer, you're like literally taking the population of all of New England and sending mailers and texting and cold calling, ISAs. You're literally marketing to everybody. That gets expensive.
Yeah. I mean, PPC alone, right? Like if you're trying to be top one, top two, like
so he's saving money by doing this is really what's happening. I don't know.
I hear it that you might need a better review game.
Google My Business does help SEO, I think, pretty heavily. I think it ties in somehow.
It does, but I try to only get like organic stuff. Like my guy will say, just anybody you talk to, have them write a Google review. But I don't want it to be cluttered with, you know, character reviews or, you know, like I want it to be real. So that's why I'm stuck, and like I can't get little Miss, you know, old lady Sullivan who doesn't have a cell phone to leave me a Google review or have.
Well,
Yeah.
here's a couple things to think of, right? Like it's the ripple effect of whatever it is that you're doing. You're working with more than just homeowners. You're working with contractors, you're working with flippers, you're working with whatever, right? So at the end of the day, that ripple effect is real. And if people who have done business with you can say it and they can leave a review saying, hey, I worked with him on the buying side, everything was great. I love it. Like that's a real review. And
I
it'll
do.
help you.
I do have to be more proactive with it. I get yelled at about that.
Oh, I mean, if you're, I would say like if you're trying to do SEO and you have everything else dialed in, that's what I would be spending your time on.
Yeah.
And because it's literally reaching out to like the seller side is harder because the deal's already done. They're like, what do you want?
Yeah, we don't care.
Yeah, right. But like
You're
the vendor
supposed to
side,
get them on closing day when they receive their money. That's their happy day.
in
Yeah.
exchange for the check, you're like, all right, hold on.
I
Like,
think
yeah, you didn't earn it. Didn't
Well,
earn
it
it.
works
Little
really
more
well
active
just
here
to
for
say
you.
like it works really well just to tell a story, be like, hey, like I'd love to help more people. And you know, my wife and I, we do this together, and we love to just show people that we are actual people. We're not robots somewhere. We're not some big corporations just trying to make money. You have like nice little sign like that has a nice little QR code. Do you mind just scanning this and giving me 5 stars? Just writing a couple words about your experience. You know, it really helps the next person to know that they know they can trust us and they know that we're actual humans and we're not some greedy bank. So if you find someone to be the bad guy, and I say this as someone that has terrible follow-up on Google reviews, but if you find someone else to be the bad guy, it does help.
Yeah, I agree. And that's a good tactic too. Like the seller, I never even imagined. I'm like, okay, got the closing table. See you later. You know?
I heard there was another one where it's like, little old ladies, they like to make pocket money. I can't remember who it was, but what they would do is they would put them on a referral list of having a transaction with them. And if they were to field a call from a potential client, they get paid $50 just to have a like 20-minute conversation with them on whatever they wanted to ask. With the understanding that obviously they had a good experience and hoping that they speak from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could also be part of your closing checklist, right? Like, yeah, either on closing day or the week before, you could kind of set the review up. Maybe if it's like if they couldn't do it, they could write some bullet points of what they liked, and then they could maybe approve, like you write it up or something, right? And they post it. Whatever it is, making it easier for them. But
Yeah.
You know what I'm thinking? Because he doesn't do flips. He does buy and hold like things. And so I'm thinking when you renew their lease, maybe that's going to be a checklist item where you're like,
I do not want any tenants knowing that this exists.
Yeah, you're
Is
like,
it
let me hear how you feel about me, and then we can decide.
Or they can edit it later on.
is the property
They
management
can edit
the
it
same
later on.
thing?
They can. That's a thing.
Same
Sorry,
LLC?
Mark, go ahead.
Is it same LLCs for like the property management as what you have?
It is not.
Yeah, maybe just
Hmm.
funnel all your happy renters to your LLC that you're marketing in or something.
Or maybe it's when they leave happy. But they don't leave, which is a good problem to have.
Yeah.
So they're happy.
So when you renew their lease,
Well, listen, when rent increases come and they meet a quota they can no longer afford. No, I don't know. That's
Amazon gift cards.
I've got a stack of them.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Software do you use to organize all your rentals and all your like LLCs, and like do you use one of the rent thingies?
I use Stessa.
Tessa?
Stessa. Stessa.
They talk that up on like the Bigger Pockets podcast. Is that like a
It's definitely on there. Like I went there to like read the reviews of which of the like top 5 were the best, and for like my size, like that works the best. Like for me, it's just, all the banking transactions to help compile end of the year records, right? It's like maybe an hour a week to set stuff between like what comes in, what goes out.
yeah.
Not very friendly unless I assigned a property to it and then buried it once it was done. But like day to day, month to month, it's pretty solid and pretty affordable. Because you can get some of the bigger programs where it's like whatever 4, 5, 7, $800 a month. Like this is relatively inexpensive for what I need, you know.
I just asked
Gonna
because
make-
my software pisses me off that it takes like 5 days for like if someone pays me, it'll take 5 days for the money to like fall into the account. So like we always have to put like money into the account. It has to be our money in there, and then it's like getting reimbursed from like tenant payments.
Yeah, well, I've got all my tenants doing Zelle, which is tied to that, which is almost same day, if not next day.
It's instant.
It's
Zelle is instant, but for it to be tracked in the software, there might be a lag there.
2-day lag, but I track that separately just to tick and tie, like, you know, partial payments or full payments, whatever it may be. But yeah, if you do Zelle and then tie your bank to it, then it comes up as a line item. And then the system starts to get to know that person pays that amount. So it automatically assigns to them, but then you have to check that, because what if you've got 4 or 5 people paying the same amount, and then it's shit, wrong account tie, right?
Wait, I have to ask because Doug and I, like the other day, we were like, oh my God, we have no landlord friends that we could ask this question to. And we literally were like making calls and no one could answer this. So we have the problem that like, so do they Zelle like what like your property management software then goes into individual bank accounts for like the different LLCs, or like how do you
No, it's just
like each Zelle to each individual bank?
no. That's what any liability person would tell you to do, like have everything separate. But I don't like that, because if they don't pay me, then that account's in the red for the mortgage, right? So I have everything to one. But that's only one account for all rents. So at least that, if the government knocks, it's all right there.
Yeah.
Unless you got those cash tenants, ain't nobody seeing those dollars.
Yeah.
Matt, I'm just curious, what if you made somebody like 501 and then another tenant 502 and another tenant 503? And so instead of looking at like 500s, you're like, oh, number 4, 504 is that guy. 503 is that girl. And whoever gets like 520, 517 is going to be your highest one. Maybe you make that your newest tenant, 517.
Well, it's because Melissa pays me $200 a week. That's why.
Who's Melissa?
She's a tenant who never pays a full amount on time.
Oh, got it.
Horrible
All
joke.
right.
Horrible joke.
Mark, it's okay. I appreciate it. You're over the hill. You're excused. And I'm approaching the hill, so I'm going to be gentle with you because I'm going to meet you on the other side of that hill soon.
Dark.
Mark Gullifer, what's the biggest problem you're solving right now?
I don't want to cold call, and I'm not cold calling, so therefore I'm not getting new. Well, that's a lie. I am getting some newer leads because I have a buddy who's passing ones that he cannot get to off. But like, still, I need my leads. So I want to get somebody to cold call. I met this kid through Facebook that seems like he's kind of a hustler. I might just throw him on the dialer and see what happens, because it's not really hurting or affecting me, so might as well. I just gotta see how much like time I'm gonna spend on training him up. So there's that. And then after that, I need, like, once some of these deals are closed, I need to throw some money at some inbound stuff. So I have 3 deals closing hopefully in the next week. I have 2 draft HUDs, so that's a good sign. Waiting on probate stuff from another one, but we think we'll have that wrapped up by the end of the week. So I don't know. Looking into either SEO is slow, so realistically, I'll probably be throwing some money at pay per lead just so I can like be getting on appointments in front of sellers without having to call, while also having that other kid call. So I think that'll be like helpful. Yeah. So leads.
So in one sentence, your biggest problem is cold calling or getting more leads?
They're both the same. So getting leads without me having to do the work. I by the end of the year, I'd like to get it so I am just like having scheduled phone appointments to further qualify and then schedule the in-person. Because what does not set me on fire is following up tasks of people I talked to a couple months ago who aren't quite ready yet and kick the can down the road. Like, I hate that. It burns me out. It doesn't get me inspired. So I want my calendar filled with like, hey, he raised his hands. Here's the answer to your 3 cold call script questions. and here's like have processed them over the phone and then schedule in person. So
Do
yeah,
you primarily want to do cash deals, sub two deals listed on the market? Like, what's your top preference? What are you looking for?
since my only real lead source right now is probate, it just centers around cash because they're not like all in foreclosure. If they were all in foreclosure, great. I'm happy to do sub two. I really like the sub two flip tail idea. Like that's killer. I love that. But like I just have my probate little like tiny little engine running and that's what I'm doing. But once I have some money to throw at some people to alleviate me of spending time in those seats, then I can start to focus on some other stuff. So another thing I've been messaging people on Upwork looking for somebody who does programming in Python so I can build a scraper because like then I don't have to pay my VA, even though it's like not much, but like I could scrape multiple websites all at once and have a landing space for all of these leads that I can then just run through skip tracing and then add to my cold calling. So I would like a lead scraper at some point for mass courts specifically to start, and then maybe other sources down the road. But that's still heavy on outbound stuff, right? Like, but still, I'd rather have the leads and be able to do the outbound and supplement with inbound until I can grow inbound enough to where I will supplement with outbound.
How's your new wholesaling group?
I had a couple people this week. It's going good. It's small but mighty. I don't know, it's good. Like last week, literally only one person showed up, and it was 2 hours of me trying to like get them out of the rut that they're in, and I don't think they're gonna get out of that rut. And he has to report to me with KPIs tomorrow, and it's not looking good because the guy who pays him is sending me screenshots like this is what he's done this week, and I'm like, oh boy, I can't wait to rip into him. So yeah, it's good though. I'm just like anybody that's like posting in any of the local groups, I'm like funneling them in. I'm just trying to, weed out the people who are going to be bad fit and then try to, take the good hustler kids like who have potential to kind of bring them up.
I have someone that's really like it's that she has that hustler mindset. She's a real estate agent who I think she just couldn't find her stride as an agent. Like, you know how it like I think it's just like that thing of like needed more mentorship or needed to like figure out how to get more of those leads. And she's working right now doing like car sales and stuff. And so I talked to her last week about wholesaling. I was like, dude, like, why don't you just wholesale? Like she's Brazilian, like she's connected to the Brazilian community. Like she could even flip if she wanted to. Like she knows this stuff. Like she knows how much construction would cost. She knows like all the stuff to get it done. Like she knows like the general pricing and stuff. I'm like, dude, like why don't you do wholesaling? And like she just had no idea about this whole like side of it. And I was like, yeah, wholesaling is this, this, and this. I gave her like an overview and I was like, oh, I'm gonna send you to I was like, let me not throw you in cold. I'll give you more like info and send you some like more stuff on like you do your research first. And then I was like, I'll send you to someone that's doing like a new wholesaling group, see if you can connect and see if it's something that you'd like to do because she has the hustle and she's very motivated for it. And she's like the type of person that will bother you until you sell her the house.
Yeah.
Um,
You
has
need
like
that.
Some people call that harassment, but it's okay. We call it tenacity.
yes.
There's a fine line between pest and persistence. Okay. You just gotta know when to tow it.
I do like the agent edge because the way that I see it is I used to be an agent in New Jersey. To me, agents are like white collar and then wholesalers out in the wild are the blue collar, right? They're a little bit uncivilized. But I like the aspect of agents because there's a lot of new agents out there. They want to do deals. They don't know how to do deals. They don't have the mentorship because they're new and they're young. It's kind of like working with the first time home buyer where you're like, oh, this is going to be so fucking much time and energy. And then you also have to understand that no broker out there is, with the exception of some investment friendly brokerages, nobody's teaching wholesale. And so I think if it's kind of like us, a majority of us wanting to learn sub two, the whole point of us learning sub two is to have one additional tool in the tool belt. And if you're going out there and saying, hey, agents, check this out. I'm an agent, but I also get to offer my clients this option, which is a cash offer. And then this is how we transfer the house and still get paid for the work the value that I bring to the transaction. So I definitely like the idea of working with like baby agents because they're already trained by their brokerage to have a certain kind of work ethic. They have a certain kind of network. And then you also have, again, the uncivilized wild, wild west of anything goes in off-market real estate wholesalers. So you're fighting two things. I always think of with agents, I always think they're brainwashed by their broker not to touch off-market stuff.
Yeah. Question: what broker is she with?
She is with, I know the name of her broker. It's Jeziani. Hang on. They're here in,
Is it Brazilian?
Jenny
Yeah.
Jeziani Suarez. Let me, hang on.
Nice.
Think.
Yeah, I like that if she's an agent, she already kind of like knows like how transactions go. That's super helpful. Now the only thing where I would say is like at the end of the day, it's the same engine, the same machine, the same mechanisms that is bringing leads into an agent or to wholesaling, no matter what. It's lead generation, it's marketing. So just if it's one thing if she like doesn't know like how to pull the list or what to like attack, but like if it's just put in front of her, if she just does it and she will continue to do it, like that's the most important thing. And it sounds like she has that, which is good. I'm always happy to chat.
Yeah. And she doesn't like, she's older. So like she's either late 30s or early 40s. So like she has a husband, she has
Well,
kids.
Be
Like,
careful with those numbers.
so sorry, guys. Wait, I'm also not young. I just forget my age too,
Are
guys.
you like 26?
Yes. But I don't think that
Exactly.
young.
Badass.
I stopped counting when I was like 26. I'm like, why do I need to go up at all? Like, who cares? Nothing happens thereafter.
Well,
Yeah.
hang on, then she's gotta be older because she has a kid who's going into college and then has another one who's in high school. So maybe she's older. And then maybe she just
No,
looks good.
I think the Brazilians start younger.
I'm
Anyway.
tomorrow's Wednesday. I'm holding my like Zoom call tomorrow if she wants to hop on, or any other Wednesday, every Wednesday, 6 to 8.
Awesome. I'll send it over to her. I just didn't want to send her to you like cold because she doesn't know a lot about she
It's
really didn't
okay.
know like anything about wholesaling. And I was like, yeah, like average wholesaling deal, you can get like $15,000, $10,000. Like it's really not that bad. Like, and she was like really interested into it. I just didn't want to send her to you like without knowing anything. But if you're cool with it, I'll send her your information. And
Yeah, I'm down to have like anybody who's curious about learning about it, like in that group or on that call, just so they can ask questions and I can kind of go over some answers. Not everyone's gonna be a win, but like it'll resonate with the right people,
exactly.
Mark, I'm gonna give you the resource link. I would love for you to drop your Wednesday Zoom link there. That way, anybody who's looking for it, it's just another spot that they can find it. And then the other thing that I hear when you talk, and this is me, but also like I'm old and aging and my mind is fragile, and so maybe let it go.
Hit
All
me
right.
with it. What do you got?
I feel like the number one problem that I'm hearing from you is inconsistency with humans, you included, because you are a little moody. Okay. So there are some days that you're like, go to the gym and I lift and I come home and maybe I make calls. And then you're also having, your baby wholesalers that maybe made calls one day and maybe not make calls the other day. So this is what I'm hearing is a lot of human inconsistency. And so when I hear you talking about working with callers, trying to train people, all I feel like you're asking for is to be disappointed. And I'm thinking in the world of Chat Daddy and AI, why can we, or you, because you're also very like introverted aligned, introverted strong. What am I saying? Introverted friendly? No, not introverted. Integrator. That's your strength, right? Like I'm surprised by how much integrator.
Half and half.
No, I'm surprised by how much integrator shit you got going on. So I'm thinking, why not use AI so that you are not dependent upon people? You don't have to train, you don't have to do humans, you don't have to do personalities, emotions, no nothing. So one of the other things I'm thinking of is I have a friend who's doing LOI, like LOI Blaster out of Texas, Marlins Briley. I love
Yeah.
him a lot. And I have a friend who bought into the program. His name is Lucky Singh. That's his name. I don't ask questions. He's a real man. He's Indian. But he bought into the program and he can send LOI. So I like the idea of some sort of AI doing this outbound thing for you, whether you work with Dean and you talk about text messaging, text message blasting. You don't want to babysit people. Other people don't want to babysit people unless they're getting paid well to do it. And even then, it's not a fun job to have. And so I'm just thinking like less humans, more automated stuff. And now they
Yeah.
have that like AI conversation thing. You can do a LOI blaster, maybe. And I don't want to give you this idea because I want to do it, but I'm going to give it to you. The whole probate thing and the fact that you have everybody's email, you could very quickly get like a, the Zillow price and do like 50%. That's your cash offer. Your creative offer could look like this, or at the end of the day, I'm a licensed agent and we can try to sell for the highest and best price on market. If
Yeah,
you did an LOI
I agree.
blaster, a lot of people would talk to you. You could go to more closing appointments instead of you wrestling with people. So that's just what I'm thinking.
Yes, I mean, right now is the season of bootstrapping. I have more time than I have money. So that's what I'm, right? So then once I get a little bit, I reinvest, right? And by putting people in seats that takes me out of a particular seat, I can spend more time on stuff like that. But yeah, I've been thinking about like AI chatbot because I have a Go High Level account. I kind of want to just like dump every one of my list into that and just have AI chatbots chatting up until they're ready for like a call, pretty much.
I'm saying baby steps. My guy will do it for free because he's just trying to. I don't think he's really doing much with real estate, but he's an introvert and he likes this techie stuff. And so he offered to it for free. He was like, hey, is anybody doing this in your market? I was like, fucking Andover, do it. So he's running it for Andover. But I would love if you could maybe get together with him and say, listen, I'm going to give you a short probate list, right? Here's my list from like 3 months ago. Take my probate. I want you to run it based on Zillow, automate cash price at 50% off that. But I also think like once people get an LOI or a letter of interest, it changes the conversation where they're like, this person is a little serious because they generated this document. Whether your secretary or AI did it, nobody knows. But having a piece of paper makes things so much more formal. And then I think somebody was having a conversation where we were talking about, I think Jonathan Stratton. I wrote him in the Creative Elite group. I wrote him something. I'm telling you, Over the Hill is getting to me. But I made him a template that I will give to you. But I was saying that once you make an offer, instead of it being verbal or text message or email, once it has some sort of letterhead and like option 1, option 2, option 3, let me know how you decide. It starts the conversation. And I think that's what you're really looking for because I think you're great in front of people. I think you're a closer. You need more real people that are selling and probate. If you're already getting probate data, you just need to close that gap of getting them to talk to you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I have like 10,000 probate like leads. Just, I mean, a lot of them have sold, a lot of them I'm talking to, a lot of them I'm not, but yes.
All right, I'll put you in touch with Lucky. And then he's a good friend of mine. So just start there. And if there's something that comes of it, maybe something that you can lean into, it doesn't have to be that expensive AI texting, expensive AI voice, whatever. Even if it's as simple as taking the list and I don't know, again, I'm not a nerd or
email
integrator,
blast.
whatever. But yeah, like having the bot and the Zapier, la, 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 la. I can't hang with you guys, okay? But I know a couple things. Yeah, you could totally make it. I wonder if you should talk to Greg too. Greg is pretty smart when it comes to that stuff. Anyway,
I'm like half integrator. Like I get to a certain point and then I start to kind of trail off. I'm good with like
I
the
met
day things that I use. But
I met a lot of people. You have a lot of integrator skills without question.
yeah.
You're like 67% integrator. I know you're great with sales, empathy,
That's
people.
accurate.
Yes, I get it. You're a hybrid. But I'm telling you, like, compared to some other people I've seen, you got it going on in integrator mode. Like, he's like 2 sentences in, and my brain is dead because I just can't keep up. So that's how I know.
Well,
All
yeah,
right.
I'm down to chat if I can blast out LOIs and get on appointments. I'm in.
He blasts out LOIs. So
Whatever.
you share your list with him,
Yeah.
LOIs get blasted, they have your contact to follow up, you take the inbound and then make some magic, hopefully. But yeah, so I'll put you in touch with Lucky. Lily Duong, what is the biggest problem you are solving this week?
Myself. So
Okay.
I'm my own bottleneck. So I think
Mhm.
right now there's actually this chat that someone built out. It's a chat bot, and it's going to, I think she's a fractional COO. So it's actually pretty cool. I'll send it to you guys. And what it does is it asks you a series of questions, which I haven't done yet, and I need to. And it literally will tell you what exactly your problem is and how, so that you can hire your fractional COO to help you with that. I mean, I have so many different problems to begin with. So I don't, I was talking to someone and we're just like, we can just pick one literally in thin air at this point to go. Part of it was SOPs and whatnot. So I have Loom AI now. So that's going to help at least with that process. But so I just need to figure out other things that I might, so I'm trying to do so many things and now it's like, that's because I'm the bottleneck. So I need to let go of some of those things and let other people do it. So I think the fractional COO will help with that portion because I can't let anything go. So I can only be in so many places all at once. But this is it right here. It's pretty cool. Check it out. It'll
Can you send it to Creative Elite? So what I'm gonna do is you can post it in Creative Elite, we can talk about it there. And then what I'll do is I'll have you submitted to our resources. That way, in the resource page, we have a bunch of cute little stuff. Like I put down my interview questions for my agent. Jonathan Santiago was needing that. One of my lenders put in their like term sheet, like these are the things to look for. Somebody else posted their when they're attracting lenders, they have a PowerPoint that they submit. So anyway, I'm working on it very slowly, but I have a whole resources section in there with files or links to different things. I put my crunchy nonviolent communication guy up there. I love him. Todd Tovak. I also love him too. And there's a short description of it. So I would definitely say post it there. And then I would also say, you're not alone. I used to think that this was like a executive function problem that I have is I call it triage, but triage is like when you go into the emergency room, they don't help the person on a first come, first serve basis. It's the person that has the biggest, who's going to die, right? Who's going to die first? And then that's the one you should maybe, try to save. And so that's essentially what you're working on. But I also understand that when you get so effing overwhelmed, it's even hard to do that, I run into paralyze. For me, I feel like taking a break, having a snack, taking a nap, going for a walk, right? Those things, or even calling a friend and talking it out sometimes helps me figure out what my next step is going to be. Because that's all you really need to do is figure out the next step. And I think you get overwhelmed being like, I have 10 steps to take in a circle. I'm not sure which step to take, and I'm overwhelmed. Any other advice, Maddie, from the over the hill people? Are you over? You are over. You've had your 40th.
Yeah,
All right, let's hear this wisdom you got. What's on the other side of the hill that
dark.
you can tell me?
It's nothing but darkness. Very, very black.
I'm just every day getting closer to my coffin in the ground. I
Yes.
know. I can't believe I'm 38, man.
Isn't the hill
Anyway,
50?
how do you prioritize when things get overwhelming? You have a full-time effing job, and then you have another full-time job as a landlord. And then you have a wife and two tiny dogs with lots of needs, and then you have me, your in-law, also very needy. How do you deal with all of us?
I don't know. It's an ability just to turn it all off and still function. I don't know. I don't have an answer, a cognitive answer for that.
No, Rachel?
Doug, yeah, I get paralyzed. I get like so stressed and anxious, and like Doug has taught me a lot about not being this way. And he's like, one step at a time. Like, stop, just one step. What's your very next step? then take that step, then take the next step. Cause like I'll get into my head and like I get like really mad and like frustrated and upset. And like I don't like to see when people are upset. And so like if it's like a situation that like it's a really complicated project or this, that like someone could possibly be upset, like I just don't take it very well because I like everyone to be happy and that's a me problem. That I'm way too people pleaser that I am working on. However, he has very much drilled it into my brain, like one step at a time. Like, do not get ahead of yourself. Do not worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow is tomorrow. What are you solving today? And like, okay, what's the very next thing? And that has like helped me a lot. And once you get into that thing of like, okay, what's the very next, like, okay, who cares about what you have to do next week or tomorrow? Just like, okay, what are you doing today and right now and what's happening? Like that helps a lot because like I definitely would freak myself out with like, oh wait, because I have a million things going on. There's a million things going on. There's a million business crap. Like every business needs something different. Every person needs something different. It's a million different clients, a million different stuff. And until today, I still get like frazzled sometimes. But if you focus on the very next item and just the very next item, it helps a lot.
Lily, do you have a list of like what's in your head of like your to-dos?
Oh, it's an ongoing list. It
I
multiplies
would,
literally as we're
I would
talking.
write it down. I
No,
would
no, no,
write
I
it
do
down.
have it. I literally was trying to train ChatGPT earlier, which I was screaming in the car at one point. I was like
Yeah.
using F-bombs and everything. I was like, I am so sorry. Like, why are you so
I'm just imagining like ChatGPT giving up on you and being like, woman, you're fucked. Like,
yeah,
blah.
like screw your damn to-do list. It's like I'm like using it as like my personal assistant. I was like, add it to the master list. I'm like, where's my master list? And that's when I start freaking out in traffic. But I do, I think, and that's sort of the reason why I need the fractional COO, right? But figuring out other piece, like right now, I'm clearing out my inbox to 0. But it's also almost 10:30, you know? And so
Yeah.
now I'm just knocking out items that, or emails, responses that were not on fire. Throughout the day, it's like, I'm like a doctor. I'm like, who is dying first right now? And then literally I'm just like tackling it on. And then literally at night, I'm like, let me start emailing these people and getting back to them since they didn't die and they've been sitting in the waiting room for like 20 hours now, you know? So
So
like,
I really like Caleb Christopher. I worship him. He has a really lovely automated response that I received your response. I'm triaging like do or die dumpster fire transactions right now. You will receive a response within 24 to 48 hours. If it is something that needs to be escalated, please text this number. Do you have something like that for your emails?
I don't, but the thing is, and so buy back your time, it does talk about these things and I have 2 VAs. So I'm like, technically I could do it. I've seen another AI that April talked about. She's in sub 2. And what it
Mhm.
does is you teach this AI how to filter out your email. So you're like, if it's a newsletter, market this. If it has certain keywords that identify certain things, mark it this way. So you either get a VA or you get an AI bot that does that and filters out all your emails. So that way you can just pick it up and like whatever that's critical in a sense, and you can respond to it too. You know, I mean, I sort of look at it now. I've talked to my VA briefly about it, where it does in that book, it does talk about it, where it's like you train them to go through your email and anything that's like related to potential fires or anything like that, then they'll mark like critical, needs response, this and that. So it is pretty cool. Again,
Yeah.
need to implement it. So it's just another on my list to do where
No, I'm just laughing like what kind of keywords, like all the cursing keywords where you're like, this is shit. And then anytime a client says shit, it automatically goes into like dumpster fire.
I'm
And
so
then unsubscribe is one of my favorite words to search for because it makes it really easy to just delete that. Yeah.
yeah.
But I think at a minimum, I will dig one out for you right now. But he has a beautiful, it's just an email signature. Well, no, you have your email signature, but then you can set up, because you have Google Suite. What do you have?
I do. I have Google Suite.
Great, easy to, I freaking love Google, but have them do an immediate response to any, I don't know what the answer is. I think you can do it to somebody who's not your contact or something like that, or you can even categorize your team on a your team can be a certain like tag with contacts. So if it's like Compass team, then they don't get the automated response. But everybody else automated. I received your email, because at a minimum, even for me, like when I'm trying to get a payoff, bitch, if you don't confirm that you received my motherfucking email, it pisses me off. Because what did it go? It went into the ethers of the world. Like, I'm not happy, and I'm crazy. But having that automated thing that says, I did receive this, I will acknowledge you, I will respond within 24 to 48 hours. If that is not good enough, you can text this number, but beware that if you abuse it, I will abuse you. And see, that's
No,
the part where I need to stop the email.
I'm
because
in
I get
I'm in like this TC group, and it's so funny. We talked about that, and Ashley was like, I literally told my clients one day that she's like, if you call me, you better be dying. Like this file is gonna like drop in 5 minutes right now, like within the next hour. And
Yeah.
so she's like, and if you don't, I'm gonna start charging you money. Like this will now hit like a consultant's fee right here the moment you're on the phone with me for more than 5 minutes.
Not even that. I'm not picking up your calls. You abuse it, I'm gonna abuse you. Again, don't use my words because it's not good. But again, let me get Caleb, or I'll just excuse me, I'll just email Caleb right now, and I bet you I'm gonna get a bounce that says, leave me alone. He's great. I love him. I haven't talked to him in a long time.
Yeah, no, I like that. I do have something like that, and for the most part, anyone that emails me, for the most part, it is none of them are on fire. It's usually when they call me. Um, but yeah, no, I like that. But AI can, yeah, no, we can do that. That's I think he probably
I
does have
think, I, I think it'll make you feel a little bit better. And technically it's a workflow. So
yeah.
anyone who approaches you gets that email. And then again, they have the option to escalate in the event that it is a fire. And then I think it's going to remove a lot of guilt off your plate, because that's something that I deal with, is that like squeaky wheel gets the grease, but at the same time, I haven't forgotten about all the other people that I care about, because you care about freaking everybody. And so then you feel guilty for everything, and that just makes you feel like trash. But yeah, let's get you an away message at a minimum.
I just need someone to respond. Now, all I do is I just chat GPT all of my response, like almost every text, almost every email now. I just talk to my phone and it just answers it. Which is, so I've set it up even in chat GPT where I'm like, this is the format that I want. I've copied, pasted, taught like, so it's pretty cool. But
I love it that you like anytime I talked to my VA in the past, I would give them like a whole English lesson as to why the word is the word and what the nuance of the word is. And I hate that. And it's me because I suck too. But I love Chat GPT. You tell it one time and it listens to you. That's like the beauty of it, right? You don't have to repeat yourself. And that's like my biggest pet peeve, is constantly being like, no, like I told you, not okay. And then it learns your style too. Yeah, I sweat, Chat Daddy.
ready to close.
Anyway, share the resource. I'll submit it to the file so that all of us can do it as well. So biggest problem is triage, and your next step is going to be to do the fractional COO thing, so that it hopefully gives you some insight and helps you take the next step. Rachel, what's your big fire this week? What's your dumpster fire?
I feel like I'm like Lily, where I'm like, Jesus Christ, where do I look? Because there's fires all over the place all the time, 24/7. Like,
Give me your biggest, dirtiest, fattest fire.
I just like, it's like she said, like, I think it's just I need a vacation, to tell you the truth. Like, I've needed a vacation.
That's an answer. That works.
My fire is my whole life, and my solution is just to give up.
Vacation. I like that.
Can you even vacation, or you're gonna go on vacation and feel guilty and not put your phone down?
I can go on vacation. Doug can't go on vacation. And so like he stresses me out that he's like, no, but like I have to do this. I'm like, can we just be on vacation, please? For the love of God. No, so I mean, it's just like, I don't think it's one thing. I just think it's a lot of things that just like, it's a lot of things everywhere, and like the to-do list is never ending of a lot of stuff to do. Like my lovely accountant from, well, I would call her an operations coordinator from Brazil. Like, I can have her doing so much more stuff, but like I don't even have time to train her. And like it's like you said, like I hate repeating myself. I hate repeating myself. I hate telling her like one thing and then like it's not that she's not smart, not there, but like because she's online, it's different. Like it's not like someone's in person and like she's seeing all the construction stuff and she's involved everywhere. So it's like if we're not involving her like and making sure she's there, she's just not up to date on it. And so like I have to train her more for her to be able to take on more stuff, but also like it really pisses me off if I give to her something to do and it's not done the way I would do it or it's not done to like the way I need it to get done. Because then I've tried to explain it to you once and then twice and then three times and then I end up doing it on myself anyway and it's just like that thing. And like I said, it's not because she's not skilled or knowledgeable, but it's like it's certain levels of training and like adjusting to like our systems and what we need and this and that and like we're overhauling all the construction software and then the bookkeeper is talking to her who's talking to the accountant who's and so it's just like it's just so much stuff and it's like I freaking hate numbers and like maybe it's me too that I've been just like procrastinating on like fully integrating her and doing all this because it's like it pisses me off and I hate having to deal with the accountant stuff. um so I really have to put together time to fully train her and to like get her more on board because I can give her so much more stuff to do. I just get pissed off when it's not done the right way. But also it's like I have to put in more time to like put in the SOPs and to train her and to do all this stuff together. And then like I think we're gonna end up going to Vegas this weekend actually for the car wash show down there. So it's like I have to coordinate that and like plan the trip and do all this stuff. And so it's just like every business needs a lot of stuff and I'm one person and it pisses me off. So
Rachel,
that's all my dumpster fire problems.
Rachel, I will say from my coaching session or being coach, part of it, and again, telling you, good read whenever you're flying to your vacation or Vegas. Read that book, Buy Back Your Time. It'll help you a lot and it'll shift your mindset. Training does take time, right? And so the way you look at it is whether you do it, um, or whether you train, just record. Literally, just whether you're on a Zoom or a Loom, record yourself. So I'll give an example. HUDs. None of my girls, every single time, I'm like, why are you still struggling with these HUDs, right? So we just came up with a solution. I'm going to literally go through every HUD on the first draft and I will just dissect it left and right. So if I have to do 200 HUDs, I will make my TCs watch 200 HUD, watch the entire thing until they get it down to the T. So
Lily, why don't you, instead of you making the HUD for these girls, why don't your girls make you a video explaining the HUD to you?
they can't because they don't know what's wrong with it.
Great, then they become a falling down the stairs dumpster fire.
Yeah.
But like, so one of the best things, so she came on the hike with us this weekend. It was awesome. Mark, Lily, and myself. One of the best things that I learned from Lily is she's working with Ashley Mason, who's like 2 or 3 within the top tier TC group. And then Ashley Mason is doing some sort of fancy coaching program with this fancy guy's name who I forgot because over the hill and please. Dan Martell. Okay, great. Dan Martell. And so
Buy Back Your Time. So
she talked about this thing called the 1-3-1. And so the 1-3-1 method is 1, what the hell is the problem? In one sentence, what is the problem? 3, come up with 3 possible solutions as to solving the problem. And the last one is what? Which one of the 3 do you think is the answer that you would suggest moving forward with? And that's what I'm hearing is like, I learned that from you. And what I feel like you're saying is your girls are coming to you and being like, mommy, I don't think for myself, do it for me, right? And then you're like, okay, I'm going to create the HUD breakdown of all HUD breakdowns, but then you're going to get a settlement sheet and blah, blah, blah. I'm a big believer that whatever problem somebody's putting on me, I'm going to put that shit right back on you. Okay. Don't give me your garbage. What do you think is the answer? What do you think is critical reasoning, critical thinking? Like, figure it out. You tell me what you think that could possibly be. And then why or why not, like, how confident are you in the answer and why or why not?
Yeah. But the thing is, and
Don't put more shit on your plate.
so no, I actually, that's what Ashley did mention. That's what she recommended. One of the things is that, and this is the scary part, top tier did not train you on HUDs. So I can't even ask these girls to, like they don't, because I've seen it enough and whatever it is, some people they're just it's hard. So for Ashley, she's just like, just get the process down. You can't blame the people until you have the process down. If you know the recipe works, and if it's the person, if they still mess up on the cookie, it's the person because you're like, this is, I don't know, grandma, 100 years recipe. Every grandma, the entire family, everybody's made it. It's a successful recipe. So now that we know the recipe's right, why are you doing it wrong? Then that's a you problem. Before you blame the person, you got to make sure your system's in place. So that's just it. So I mean, I know 200's a lot, but what it is, it's just like you have them watch these things and they have no, and the time when you ask them, right? So I'll have them watch 3 videos, 3 training that I did. Of the 3 training, it should cover 80% of the work. There's going to be obviously 20 that's missing in there. So if you come and then you see that that's the issue, the gap, we can like tweak that, the process and go from there. But that's how Ashley was explaining. That's why, like, for me, I was like, Rachel, if you're gonna do it anyways, just record yourself. You're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You're recording yourself,
Yeah.
you have them watch it, and then if they don't get it or whatever it is where there might be certain things, but at least you're recording yourself. So it's not like you're having to repeat yourself. You're just walking it through, talking yourself through it as if you're training someone. And by the, whatever it is, and then you just assess and you're like, maybe this is just not the right seat for the person. Maybe they're just better off with something else. Or you might just have to pull someone else to do that. That might be in their caliber.
Yeah, that's a good point because like what I had started doing is I had created like an SOP guide kind of so that like every time I was doing something I would like write down like what I was doing. So it's like okay, every time a new subcontractor come in, what do you do? Okay, you get their contact information, their phone number, their email, then you have to get their proof of insurance. You need a COI. How do you get a COI? Then you need general liability and you need workers' compensation. Okay, now they need to sign a trade agreement. And it's like I would go through like all of those steps and just like write it out. But maybe it's a good point that like recording it would be better to like actually like write it out, have it there, and then maybe also have like a link of a recording to be like, hey, like this is an example of I got this person, this is how they got into the system, and then this is how it is. Because like I love who I have right now. I think she's really great, and I just have been underutilizing her because I've had too much crap on my plate to even like really be able to efficiently delegate and train her and teach her. But also like I do know that like nobody is forever. And so like I wanted to create this to be like, okay, if she gets an amazing job opportunity or does something else or like, just ends up going somewhere else, that if I get the next person, I'm not just starting from scratch. Like I have something I can show them.
Yeah. So just think of all the recordings that you do. It's just like an onboarding, right? You're just cloning yourself. Obviously anything that needs to be updated, you know. But definitely for sure. And that's what this is for too, right? It's just like in case when I get another TC, whatever it is, it's like, hey, new TC, you watch all these videos. By the end, you should know what to do. If you don't, that's now a you problem. I'm like, we're gonna have to figure something out. But definitely. So like I literally have my VAs do the same thing. They're doing a playbook on practically everything. And obviously I'm not saying it's to replace them, but it's to in case when I bump them up to a manager and I need someone else to go behind them, instead of them training, they can just refer back to all the videos. And what you can do is just have them watch whatever it is, half a day watching the videos, and then the other half of the day just following you, just shadowing you the entire time. Again, just cloning yourself. I'm telling you, that book is really good. Read it. I do not get paid for advertising. Just
Oh,
look it up.
I'll put it on my list. I like to read a lot, so I actually will read it.
Rachel, I was thinking, what about, so instead of you taking a full-blown vacation, right, just leaving the country, what if there was a middle ground option where you take like a 4-hour spa day?
I've been
I
saying
had
that Like, I need a spa day.
I'm too ticklish for that. But I had a girlfriend who did this thing called in Jamaica Plain is called Cloud9 Wellness. The saltwater tanks. Have you seen them? Do you know what they are? Okay, so it's it's 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt in a tank. It's like super whatever saturated water. You float. It's like
Oh,
what I
I've read
imagine.
about that.
Yes. Yes. Cloud9 Wellness in Jamaica Plain, okay? Because you're in Boston. I don't know how close or far that is because my geography is bad, but what are you doing Saturday?
I think I'm going to Vegas for the car wash show.
Oh, good call, good call. Anyway, she's doing a presentation on Saturday. Pam Barty, she's wonderful. I don't know if I told you about her, but she runs with she has a podcast. She parties on an island with Russell Branson, the the Virgin record guy who then owns an airline company called Virgin Air. She also hangs out with Steve Harrington from Shark Tank, and he did like the drop for her podcast. So she's like very well connected, very cool person. She has a lot going on business wise and personal life, and she makes it a point to do this. So I saw her doing it and I was like, bitch, take me. But please go. Please tell me how awesome it is. Or even if you are in Vegas, I would love to encourage you to take some time for you, period. Whatever that is, take a 4-hour thing, give yourself permission to go, like, I don't know, go eat a raw meal, like blend up 30 vegetables together and then drink that for your health and take a nap or lay in the sunshine. I heard it's called sunflowering, where you just stand in the sun, or lizarding. It's a whole Gen Y thing. I'm staying current, because I'm fighting the hill. But yeah, I would tell you, have some middle ground, take some time for you. If you're feeling overwhelmed, blah, blah, blah. I'm a big believer that when I feel the pressure, it's an indicator to me to make sure that I'm taking time to pour back into me. And then of course I have Rupert and I walk him 3 times a day. So usually I just watch him while he's playing around outside like a crackhead. And then I'm always like, this guy has not a care in the world. He just loves grass. And then I just think about, wow, he loves grass so much. Why can't I just love where I am right here, right now? And it makes my life better. But he's like my built-in Tamagotchi personal self-care thing. And you have that with Judy. I know that. But if ever you're really in like high stress, you got a lot going on, I would push you to tell you to make sure you take time out for yourself. Even if it's 30 minutes, getting into a regular thing where you're like, okay, my trigger is I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling stressed. I'm going to go take 10 minutes for myself to just meditate, close my eyes, try to empty my brain, 10 minutes to go write down a list and just brain dump all the shit out of my head so that I can get it on paper and not let it. I just think of it as like a washing machine with too much clothes in it, and I got to take the clothes out for it to actually wash, So train yourself that when you have a certain feeling, that you take care of yourself in a certain way, because any self-care that I've ever done has always paid dividends on the back end. And again, if it's a huge dumpster fire, you will know, because the dumpster fire will be screaming your name to solve it. So maybe you can't do your self-care at that time, but for the most part, everything can wait. Yeah. So I would say find some middle ground. And then the last thing I was thinking of is, it sounds like your girl, like one of the things you were frustrated with was that your girl is not up to date with everything because she's not in your office. But what I was thinking is, like, a lot of people have Slack or some sort of like company chatting platform that, like, if she's talking to the accountant, then all the accountant conversation is here. If she's talking to a project manager, all the project manager notification, la, 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 is there. Do you have something like that?
Yeah, we have WhatsApp groups where like she's connected with everyone on the team. And it's really not so much me, like I'm very technological and I'm always online, but like the guys that are on site, like they're not as good with like communicating digitally as much as I scream at them to. And so like it's that type of thing where I'm like, hey, like you have to be putting in updates, you have to be doing this, you have to be doing that. But it's like it's that type of thing too where it's like, how many times do you say it before like and that's like a frustration too of like, me figuring out like how to put stuff more online and get us more technologically savvy and up to date. Like Doug is not tech savvy like at all. And so like since he's like main contractor and like running stuff, like there's only so much I can like wring his neck and force him to be virtual and put stuff online. So I think it's just like that struggle too of like, you know, getting like making sure that she's connected to like everyone on staff. And maybe it just means that like, you know, maybe having her start to make calls. Like if Doug is not being tech savvy, like, okay, then give him a call and bug him and be like, what is happening in the project? And let me do an update here. And then maybe like
Right. I like that idea. Like a couple of things. You can set a Google Calendar notification that at 4:50 every day, they get an alert that they're supposed to make. Even if it's I like talk to text personally, but I do know men like to do that, what's that thing? The voice thing? What is that thing? Voxer?
voice recording.
Anyway, they like to record their voice, and I'm not into that because I'm like, I'm hard of hearing and just like, please no. But the other thing I think of is they can call. What if you were to set up a certain number? Because I get my voicemails automatically get translated into a transcript. And it's like, what is it? Visual voicemail. I wonder if you can set up a phone number or like send them to voicemail or have them either if they refuse to do talk to text, if they want to record their voice, then yes, have your girl either call them and get the report from them that way. Maybe give them a phone number so that they leave a voice message and the voice message gets automatically translated into some sort of script. And then that gets recorded at the end of the day as the update for the company-wide update. I don't know, but I definitely like the idea that you need some sort of visibility into what's going on. You're dealing with what you're dealing with, right? You can only push so far and repeat yourself so many times before maybe you need to motivate them and withhold their paycheck until they submit a report. Like, I don't know. You know, there are ways to manipulate and get what you want, and also encourage behavior. But yeah, I like the idea of either she calls or again, I really like AI. The more you can use AI, there's lots of different features that are out there. And again, if you're trying to get some sort of written statement as to what the heck is going on, I honestly really like my voicemail idea because the voicemail is limited to 3 minutes and it's translated. It's going to be hard if they have an accent, but it is what it is. So either talk to text or I would just force them to talk to text.
I think I'm going to have Carla like call them every single day and bug the hell out of them. That way, like, because I honestly think that that's the only way to get it done. And I think that eventually, after she calls them like 5 times, like every single day, that like they'll learn that, hey, at the end of the day, you put in a log of what you did because they're capable of
Yeah.
it, right? Like, they're not, they can write a text message, they can write an email, they can do all this stuff. It's just like, and I get it, it's like the brain energy to do it. And it's like at the end of the day, and it's like a million things going on, and everyone has a million stuff on their plate. But it's like those stuff is important and it has to get done to make sure that we're up to date on everything. So I think like the
Yeah.
best thing would be for her to be calling them. And if she's like, hey, there's no log in the system, like, what is it? Like, they can send her an audio of what was done and she can upload it.
Yeah, I had an idea. My idea is you need to submit a written summary of the day, right? It can be a talk to text. If you don't submit it by 5 o'clock, then you're going to expect a call 6 o'clock and onward, or whatever the case is. So they have a chance to submit it on time, and if not, prepare to be harassed. And then at the end of the day, like another thing that's important is you have to train people. If that is your standard, right? Like also explain to them like the importance of it so that they understand it, so that you're not just being like, do this. They need to some people need to understand it. And then on top of it, understand that you have to train people. It's a little bit annoying, but it is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
Have higher standards.
Yeah, you're right. And like, because we haven't done it for so long that like it's hard to implement new stuff.
But you're the boss, right? You need visibility, you have responsibilities, there are things that drive your business, and you need what you need, which is transparency in your work, period. How can you be on a team when you don't know what's happening? So submit a report or get harassed or don't get your paycheck on time. Either or, you choose, you're ending.
You could incentivize maybe as opposed to the paycheck pull, but
Manipulate, incentivize, same.
they are
Same.
still human beings.
Yeah.
I can do both to everyone except for Doug because then he'll just like he doesn't play that game. And technically he's like more owner-ish than I am. So not Not because of the owner stuff, but because he does construction more than I do, so I can't really boss him around that much. So I can.
Do you guys have, do you have team meetings where like everybody's in the office one day?
No, but it just often happens that we're all in the office at the same time.
I would love to see you guys have like so in any successful team that I've had, it's either at the beginning of the week, at the end of the week, or even every single day at 9 o'clock. I think they call it like a scrum thing. I think that's like something with like website building, but the whole point is everybody is like on a company-wide update. Everybody is there in person on a need-to-know basis, 20 minutes out of the day. You're talking about how to move the company forward, how to solve problems to make everybody's life easier and more enjoyable. And so if you guys are in the company, I would almost just tell you to formalize what you're doing and say, everybody be here Wednesday, 12 o'clock. I'm going to order pizza and we're going to talk about shit or whatever. I know sometimes people like to do dinner on Friday or lunch on Friday, but I would make it a more formal thing. I would have a structure to it where it's like, we closed out X amount of accounts last week. This week we have XYZ projects currently going on. These are some identified foreseeable problems with it. These are some things that we're implementing to take care of issues, blah, blah, blah. But if you're a business, honey, you gotta have some sort of like company-wide meeting. Just have a meeting to have a meeting. I mean, I think it needs to be done. Pop your cherry.
We had them a lot more when we were like a bigger company. Now that we've like scaled back and like have taken it easy and we relax and we don't take as many projects on, we've like done less of them because it's just like this, even with all my dumpster fires, like this is so much less than last year and the last 2 years. Like last 2 years, I was like a chicken with no head 24/7. So like now that we're like scaled back, like we've been a lot more chill with it and the projects have been a lot more chill. But I think it's a good point to be like every week coming, even if it's like we have one project, like coming together, be like, hey, what's going on with that project and what's the update, and then like move on from it. So I think that's a good bring it back, revive the weekly.
Even if it's something like this where you're getting a temperature on your people, figuring out, things that are coming up or things that got resolved, whatever it is, I think having a great team is having like a central launching point, whether that's, communication, like a central form of communication, or you have a weekly spot where everybody gets face to face, everybody has a chance or an opportunity to talk to you about shit that you might not even know is going on. So I think you might have some people pleasing issues because I also have them. And so maybe you went from like super, super chaotic to something super casual and fun and nice and like easy breezy. But at the end of the day, there has to be structure to your company because at a minimum, you should be tracking your growth. You should be tracking your business. And your business is also a people business too. So anyway, I would love to see you have a more formal in-person meeting. In addition to all the stuff I threw on you. In addition to you also doing the Jamaica Plain Cloud9 Wellness Epsom Salt Pond. And if you don't do it, I'm going to try to do it. But I heard it's amazing. You float like zero gravity and that like your mind, it's just your mind goes wild because you can't like feel anything or something like this. It's just, it's a think tank. But anyway.
I'm terrified I'll have a panic attack in there. I'm not going to lie. Like I think a tank like that would freak me out. Do it first and know how it goes.
Yeah, I think you can do it with the lid open because it's like it looks like an egg. And then you got to lift the lid. But I think if you close the lid, that's when everything becomes completely soundproof. And then that's when you have just crazy thoughts at that point, or your mind. I'm excited. I've never done it, but I always thought it was really cool. And so please be my guinea pig. Okay. All right, we are way over time. Thank you for coming. Thank you for staying. My big problem of the week is I finished my thing. I'm paying people off between today and tomorrow. And now I feel like I'm a bored housewife and I'm looking for the next opportunity. And so what I'm doing is I'm going to a lot of meetups and I'm trying to make friends. So that's what I'm doing. I'm putting myself out there. So there's a meetup. I'm taking, Mark and I are carpooling. It's about 2 hours away. Rupert is also going on Thursday. Then we have the sub-2 meetup with Pam Barty, my girlfriend, on Saturday. And then beyond that, I guess I need to make more friends and figure out more real estate centric meetups that I can crash and be a part of. Yeah. All right. Thank you again. Mark, you want to say something?
I might have something in Ipswich if you're interested. Maybe I'm gonna meet him
What's,
Friday.
what's that?
A flip.
Like a deal to look at?
Yeah. I'm meeting with him Friday.
Okay.
It's a good lead. But
Okay. I also, that's on my list of things to do, Matt, is this year I wanted to try, it's a whole thing. I wanted to try some new professional things, and one of them is fighting with men on a lawn at an auction. I just think it would be really fun to be like, fuck you, 1,001 penny. I don't know if they have increments, they probably do, but I wanna fight on a lawn.
It-
And yeah,
Fun.
huh?
It's fun. You should do it.
Maybe that's what I'll do. If I go to these two meetups and then so that's Saturday, and then maybe I can squeeze in one more auction and then maybe make friends with the auction participants, auction bidders. Maybe that's another way to make friends. I don't know. I'm an adult trying to make friends. Here we go. Fun times. Okay. Thank you guys for being my friends. Thank you for being here. Everybody go, good night. If you need anything posted in the group, I am working towards us having a Rolodex, which is our referrals, our lenders, our attorneys, litigation attorneys, all that fun stuff. And then another thing that I made just today was our resources. So any links to things, any files to things that you can share that made you better, that could be of benefit to somebody else, please post it there. Okay? Au revoir. Thank you for coming. Good night. Bye,
Good night.
everyone.